Chapter 2880. Disciple. I don't know. Tian-chan smiled bitterly. Tian-chan, you're not bad. Although you can't carry out that plan, managing and developing the Heavenly Elixir sect is a good way out. I have high hopes for you. Patriarch Xianshun said. Yes, martial uncle, please train me in the future. Tian-chan cupped her fists and said, you can leave now. Go and reply to that Earth Diamond planet as soon as possible. Don't let him wait too long. After all, he is our ally, right? Patriarch Xianshun instructed. Disciple will go and find him now. Tian-chan quickly responded. Tian-chan returned to her residence and casually glanced at her phone. She didn't know why, but after returning from the trial, Tian-chan had a habit of looking at her phone. She felt unhappy if she didn't look at it, but she felt a little disappointed when she looked at it. In the past, Tian-chan didn't look at her phone even once in half a month. She didn't even turn it on because the Heavenly Elixir sect still maintained many ancient customs. If there was something, the disciples and servants would pass the message. Seeing that there was a missed call on her phone, Tian-chan was slightly stunned. She quickly checked it nervously. It was actually a familiar number. Did he call me? I was just about to call him and tell him about the pros and cons of this matter. I didn't expect him to call first. Thinking of this, Tian-chan quickly pressed the call back button. Tian-chan? Lenny didn't expect Tian-chan to call back so quickly. He quickly picked up the phone. It's me. Hearing this familiar voice, Tian-chan had a special feeling in her heart. Are you looking for me? And are you okay? Lin Yi's words turned into a question. And I'm fine. How about you? After Tian-chan asked, she felt that it was unnecessary. Tian-chan knew Lin Yi's every move after returning to the Heavenly Elixir sect in. There was no need for her to ask again. I'm fine too, Lin Yi said. You're not looking for me just to ask about this, right? Tian-chan suddenly smiled. What's the matter? I have something to discuss with you. It's about the nail of the 5 Evils dragon that I obtained previously. Do you know about it? As Lin Yi spoke, he explained Little Nine's condition in detail to Tian-chan on your side. Do you have a method to use the 5 Fiends dragon nail? You want to know how to use the nails of the 5 Evils dragon? Tian-chan's face suddenly revealed an extremely strange expression. She didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, you know? Lin Yi immediately became excited. From Tian-chan's tone, it seemed that she knew how to use the 5 Fiends dragon's nails. And I know, Tian-chan said affirmatively. The things on the earth attribute spirit beast must have a mate and a kind of medicine to be used by cultivators with earth attribute problems. This medicine can only be used by the Yellow Earth sect in the western region. That is the birthplace of the earth attribute. In the Yellow Earth sect, there's an underground cave that has existed for hundreds of millions of years. There's a stalactite inside, which is the essence of the earth attribute power. The stalactite that drips from it is the earth attribute essence liquid, which is very precious. Oh, you mean that I have to go to the Yellow Earth sect to ask for this earth attribute essence liquid? Lin Yi quickly asked after listening. Yes, but this earth attribute essence liquid is very precious and rare. A small bottle can only be collected in 100 years, and it is only enough for one use. Tian-chan said, it can't be? So rare? Then wouldn't it be very difficult for me to ask for it? Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly after listening. Why were the scenes of looking for elixirs so similar? It was the same when he went to the Ice Palace. It is indeed very difficult, but this small bottle of earth attribute essence liquid is nothing compared to the life of the young master of the Yellow Earth sect, Tu Bawang. Even if there were 8 or 10 bottles, if you could save the young master of the Yellow Earth sect, they would give it to you without hesitation. Tian-chan said. Before, Tian-chan didn't know how to ask Lin Yi to save Tu Bawang, but now it all made sense. Oh, Lin Yi just remembered that the young master of the Yellow Earth sect, Tu Bawang, had been beaten up by Nai Peo in front of the restaurant. Tu Bawang isn't dead yet. He's using the Da Huan pill to prolong his life. Tian-chan said. He won't die for now, but he won't live for long either. Lin Yi took in a deep breath and carefully considered the pros and cons of this, but still said firmly, All right, I'll help him. I'll go talk to the people of the Yellow Earth sect later. Although healing Tu Ba Wong would expose Lin Yi's healing abilities, it was nothing compared to Little Nine's life. Lin Yi had enough enemies now, and Lin Yi was standing in a position that was strong enough. Even if people knew about his abilities, it would just be another benefit for him. Right now, Lin Yi was like a porcupine, trying to find a balance between all the different levels and powers. He wouldn't take the initiative to stab you, but if you came to him, he would stab you. So for now, it was still peaceful. There's no need for that. There's a saying that going up to them isn't a business. If you take the initiative to ask them for help, they won't remember your kindness. But if they come to you, it's different. Tian Chan said, but how do I let them know that I can cure Tu Ba Wong? Lin, he was slightly stunned. I will arrange this for you. You just have to wait in the room. When the time comes, you can make use of it. The benefits you get are not just the earth essence, said Tian Chan. This, thank you very much. Lin, he was a little shocked. He didn't expect Tian Chan to have such a great ability. She could coordinate the people of the Yellow Earth sect to find him, but thinking about Tian Chan's background in the Five Elements sect, it wasn't surprising. Say thank you to me. I'll kick you. After Tian Chan finished speaking, she hung up the phone. Her face was a little red, and her heart was beating fast. Especially when she said the last sentence, Tian Chan found that she was very nervous. Lin, he was a little speechless. Thank you and get kicked? He hung up and turned his head, only to see Yang Chi-Chi staring at him. Lin, he was a little embarrassed. He didn't ask about Lil Jiu before, and instead asked about Tian Chan's well-being. Was Yang Chi-Chi unhappy? This, Lil Chi. Lin didn't know what to say. I.e., bro, Lil Jiu can be saved, right? That Tian Chan sis, is really amazing. She actually knows people from the Yellow Earth sect? Yang Chi-Chi looked at Lin excitedly. Chapter 2881. But did Chi-Chi ignore Tian Chan's last words? In fact, Chi-Chi really did. In her eyes, anyone who could help her save Lil Nine was a good person, and Tian Chan being able to help was naturally a good person as well. As for other things, they were nothing compared to Lil Nine. Yeah, I'll just wait in my room, Lenny nodded. Then, I'll go back to my room first. I won't disturb Bro's discussion with the Yellow Earth people. They won't be able to say anything with me here, will they? Chi-Chi said as she stood up. All right, you go back first then. I'll let you know if there's any news. Lin nodded. After sending Chi-Chi off, Lenny sat on the bed and closed his eyes as he entered the Jade space, preparing to train. It had been a few days since he'd last trained. He'd been busy thinking about how to leave the Five Evils wildlands safely. Zhang Naipeo had been by his side back then, and Lin, he couldn't train in peace. Hey, I say, Ghost, thanks for what you did before. Lin, he didn't even get the chance to say thank you to that damn thing. He'd been reminiscing with Yang Chi-Chi ever since he got back to the inn. There's no need for that. If I didn't save you, you'd be dead. Where else would I find such a good place to train? The ghost said flatly, you don't have to thank me this time, and don't feel like you owe me anything. It's different this time. All right. Lin, he was a little speechless. He didn't think that this thing wouldn't take credit for itself, and pushed the credit away. It was still an upright ghost. All right, I'm going to go back to sleep. You go do what you need to do, and don't disturb me if there's nothing important. The ghost said, oh, go back to sleep then. Lenny didn't really need that thing right now. He adjusted himself and started training. Yang Chi-Chi went back to her room, feeling like she was dreaming. Her meeting with Lin, it was like a dream, but now that she thought about it, it was so sweet. Every time she was in danger, Lin, he would appear and lend a helping hand. Could it be that all of this was arranged by the heavens? Lin E was her E. Today was the happiest day of her day. Not only did she reunite with Lin E, she even found a way to save Lil Jiu. Hello, Lil Jiu. It's your sis Chi. Chi-Chi said, ah, Sister Xiao Chi, did you successfully pass the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect? Xiao Jiu's worried heart finally calmed down after receiving Chi-Chi's call. She had been keeping track of the time. Chi-Chi had clearly passed the time limit for the test, but she hadn't contacted her at all. This made her very anxious, but she couldn't reach Chi-Chi at all. Chi-Chi had left her phone at the inn, and it was turned off Lil Gio couldn't reach her at all. She could only worry for herself. I didn't pass the test, because the rewards from the Heavenly Elixir sect aren't very useful to us. But the most important thing is that I found the nail of the 5 malefic dragon, an earth element. Chi-Chi said excitedly. You really found it? Lil Gio was a little shocked. She couldn't understand why a beast as strong as the 5 malefic dragon would give its nail to Chi-Chi. Sister Chi, you didn't run into any danger, did you? Danger? I did. Chi-Chi couldn't help but smile bitterly, but I managed to escape in the end because I met Lenny again. Ah, you met Lenny again? Did he help you this time? Lil Gio let out a sigh of relief. It seemed like he had a lot to do with Chi-Chi getting through this. Yeah, right, Lil Gio. Do you know who Lenny is? Chi-Chi asked excitedly. Who is he? Lil Gio asked anyway. It's bro. He's bro. Lil Gio, do you know? I used to want to kill him like an idiot, but he's bro. Chi-Chi's voice changed. You know? Lil Gio asked subconsciously. Yeah. Lil Gio, do you know something? Chi-Chi thought back to Lil Gio's tone earlier, as if she knew that he was bro all along. Lil Gio was speechless, realizing that she'd let the cat out of the bag. Lil Gio, you knew all along, didn't you? You've been hiding it from me? Chi-Chi's eyes went wide, unable to believe that Lil Gio had been hiding it from her all this time. She'd gone through mountains and rivers for Lil Gio, risking her life, and Lil Gio was lying to her. Chi-Chi knew that Lil Gio liked bro, but she'd never been jealous, treating Lil Gio like a sister. But Lil Gio, sis, I didn't mean to hide it. Lil Gio said weakly, I wasn't sure that Lenny was bro before. I only knew that his name was Lin when I checked his phone, but I didn't know if the Lenny you were talking about was the same Lin. Plus, Ms. Zhou said that I can't reveal the information I'm in charge of. I see, all right. Chi-Chi didn't have any objections now that it was Ms. Zhou's request. The information Lil Gio was in charge of wasn't for the members who were out on missions, and the other members weren't allowed to look into it without authorization, including Chi-Chi. It made sense that Lil Gio wouldn't reveal it. Chi-Chi had grown up in a family with strict rules, so she didn't find anything wrong with Lil Gio's actions. Ms. Zhou wasn't Chi-Chi's birth mother, but she was her father's other wife. She was also one of the instructors for these assassins, in charge of hacking training. As a result, Chi-Chi had a lot of respect for her. Naturally, she wouldn't complain about what she'd said. Chapter 2882. It's fine, I understand. Chi-Chi shook her head. No wonder you tried so hard to make excuses for Lin when I said I was going to kill him, saying that he was trying to save me. You knew all along. I wasn't too sure at the time. Gio said, yeah, right, it's all thanks to bro this time. I'd have died in the 5 Fiend Wildlands, and I wouldn't have been able to get the 5 Fiends Dragon's fingernail. Chi-Chi didn't dwell on what happened before, and told Gio about what happened in the 5 Fiends Wildlands, especially the part where Lin roasted fish for her and saved her. Chi-Chi went into great detail, and Gio was quite envious. 7 sis, you're so lucky seeing bro. I could only hear his voice on the phone. It's fine. Bro promised me that he'll come find us after a while, and you guys can meet then. Let him see that our 9th princess has become a big girl now. I bet he'll be drooling. Chi-Chi said, don't guys all like cartoon girls? Of course not. It's because of my body. I'm a little smaller. Gio said, a little embarrassed. The two of them chatted happily. On the other side, Tian-chan asked Manager Sun to go to the Earth Diamond planet to see her. Earth Diamond Star returned to the Heavenly Elixir section. Looking at the unconscious young sect master on the bed, he felt extremely depressed. Even the Heavenly Elixir sect's young sect master, Heavenly Silkworm transformation, was helpless. Earth Diamond Star was truly helpless. Dragging it out day by day was not a solution. However, the Yellow Earth High sect was located in the western region, and the journey was long. If they had to trek back to the Yellow Earth High sect from here, the local tyrant would not be able to hold on. However, even if Huang Tugao sent someone over, it was impossible for them to have a way to save Earth Overlord. Their only hope now was that Heavenly Silkworm Change's last words weren't perfunctory, but that he was really thinking of a way to help Earth Overlord. Just as he was fretting over this, the intercom in the room suddenly rang. Earth Diamond Star froze for a moment before picking up the call. He didn't understand who would be calling him on the intercom at this time. In this period of time, Earth Diamond Planet had seen the fickleness of human nature. Their Yellow Earth sect had pissed off Zhang Naipeo, and the other practitioners were all avoiding them every time they saw them, let alone calling them. Therefore, Earth Diamond Star thought that he had made a mistake. Who is it? Is it the Earthen Diamond Planet of the Lust sect? The person on the other side of the phone asked directly. Yes, and you are? Earth Diamond Star was a little stunned. The other party actually knew who he was. Clearly, they were looking for him. However, who would be looking for him? I am the inn's shopkeeper's son, our heavenly dance sect's young sect master. She wants you to immediately go to the sect to see her. Shopkeeper's son said. Young sect master said that he has thought of a way. What? Has young Master Tion thought of a way? Earth Diamond Star was shocked and overjoyed. He was so excited that he couldn't even hold the phone properly. Thank you, Shopkeeper Sunday. I'll head over right now. Thank you so much. There's no need to thank me. I'm just in charge of passing the message. You should go quickly. Don't let the young sect master wait too long. Shopkeeper's son said faintly. Yes, I'll go right now. Earth Diamond Star said fearfully. After hanging up, Earth Diamond Star didn't have the time to be happy anymore. He didn't even bother going downstairs. He opened the window and jumped down, running towards the direction of the Sky Elixir sect. He was afraid that Silkworm Change would get angry. He didn't dare waste a second. Earth Diamond Star sped along the way. He was a Sky Class mid-phase, and his speed was extremely fast. It didn't take long for him to reach the Sky Elixir sect. Under Little Peach's lead, he arrived at Tian Chan's room. Yellow Earth sect Earth Diamond Star greets young sect Master Tian. Although Earth Diamond Star was excited and wanted to know what method Silkworm Change had thought of, he still greeted politely. Earth Diamond Star, you're here. There's no need to be so polite. Tian Chan waved her hand and pointed to the seat in front of her. Sit first. We'll talk slowly. All right. Earth Diamond Star nodded and sat respectfully in front of Silkworm Change. However, he didn't dare to sit too casually. He stood upright like a primary school student in class. Then, he asked carefully, Young Sect Master Tian, you asked Shopkeeper's son to look for me. Have you thought of a method? And I have thought of a method. However, whether or not it can be implemented depends on you. Tian Chan pretended to be hesitant. Young Sect Master Tian, please tell Earth Diamond Star if you have a method. Even if we have to cross mountains and rivers, our Yellow Earth sect will find a way to save young Sect Master. Earth Diamond Star quickly said, Actually, you don't have to cross mountains and rivers. The person who can help you is right in front of you. Before Tian Chan could finish her sentence, Earth Diamond Star interrupted excitedly. It's you, young Sect Master Tian? Earth Diamond Star stood up and knelt on the ground. He shouted, Young Sect Master Tian, please save our young Sect Master Earth's life. Cough, cough. Tian Chan didn't expect Earth Diamond Star to suddenly interrupt and kneel on the ground. She was speechless. Earth Diamond Star, get up first. The person I'm talking about isn't me, not young Sect Master Tian. Earth Diamond Star was confused. Young Sect Master Tian? You mean, this person is also a participant who passed this trial. He's currently in the Heavenly Elixir sect in. Tian Chan explained. I see. Sorry, I was too excited. Earth Diamond Star stood up awkwardly and rubbed his hands. And it's fine. I understand your eagerness to save your master. Tian Chan nodded in understanding. Young Sect Master Tian, this person is... Earth Diamond Star asked impatiently. This person is Linny. Have you heard of him? Tian Chan asked. Linny? Tu's Wishing shook his head with a blank face. He brought Tu Tyrant back to his room after being injured and didn't interact with other practitioners after that. Naturally, he didn't know about Lin. Which sect is he from? What's his strength? He's a lone practitioner. Earth Class Late Phase. Tian Chan said. As far as I know, he's the only one who can help you. But I'm not sure if he can. Oh? Earth Class Lone Practitioner? Earth Diamond Star was curious. He can help me? That's right. Tian-chan nodded. Chapter 2883. Wait, Tian-chan called out to the Earth Diamond Star. Young Master Tian, is there anything else? Tuo Zuoxing asked. You're going to find him just like that? You don't even know his personality, hobbies, or needs, and you're going to ask him for help? Tian-chan shook her head in exasperation. If you mess things up, then your young sect master won't be able to be saved. Young Master Tian, you're thinking too much. He's just a small Earth-class wandering practitioner. I don't care about him at all. As long as I promise him some benefits, that Lin, he will definitely come over to help. Right? Tozoaxing said proudly. Even if he doesn't go, I can force him to. I may not be as strong as you, but I'm still a sky-class mid-phase. Oh, then go ahead. You and your young master will die here. Don't blame the Heavenly Elixir sect for not warning you. Tian-chan frowned and said coldly. What? Does young Master Tian want to interfere? Tuo Zuoxing paused, not understanding what Tian-chan meant. He was a sky-class mid-phase. How can Earth-class like Lin do anything to him? So he understood that Tian-chan was going to interfere. I won't interfere. I'm just telling you that a sky-class mid-phase like you is just a tool to Lin, Tian-chan said calmly. What a tool? Tuo Zuoxing thought that he didn't hear it clearly. How is that possible? Naipeo's two followers, Mo Ba and Mo Gio, are both sky-class mid-phase, and both of them were struck by Lin, one dead and one injured. You do as you see fit. Tian-chan waved her hand. I'm a little tired. I've done my best for you, and I've reminded you what I should. You can leave now. Don't. When Earth Diamond Star heard Tian-chan's words, he was frightened out of his wits. He turned around and knelt on the ground again. Young Sect Master Tian, Diamond Star was too arrogant. Please help me. Please don't chase Diamond Star away. This concerns our young Sect Master Earth's life. Earth Diamond Star was very shocked by Lin, killing two sky-class mid-phase masters, and even Naipeo's companions at that. This was unbelievable, but he didn't think that Silkworm Change would lie to him about this. There was no need, and he only needed to go back to the inn and ask Manager Sun and the other participants. He'd be able to find out what had happened. So, as shocked as he was, Tuo Zuoxing begged. If Lin, he was really the type of person that Tian-chan was talking about, he might just die if he used force. Then what else do you want to know? Tian-chan asked helplessly. Young Master Tian, please tell me more about this Mr. Lin. I'll have a plan to deal with him so that I won't be caught off guard. Tuo Zuoxing begged. All right, I'll tell you then. Tian-chan nodded. Lin, he may be an Earth class, but he's even stronger than a Sky class. Even I don't have the confidence to win against him. What? Tuo Zuoxing's eyes went wide. Young Master Tian, even you don't have the confidence? Aren't you a Sky class late phase peak? That's right, I don't have the confidence. Tian-chan nodded. Tuo Zuoxing took a deep breath. In his opinion, there was no reason for Tian-chan to boost others' morale and belittle his own. How could a cultivator at the peak late phase peak of Heaven's stage, the dignified young master of Heavenly Elixir sect, say that he was inferior to a sky-class late phase expert? The only reason was that this Earth-class late phase expert was very powerful. Otherwise, why would Tian-chan say that? This was a matter of face. He had to admit that he was inferior to someone who was much weaker than him. He didn't believe that the Heavenly Silkworm transformation would joke about such a thing. Wouldn't that affect his reputation? However, there was a situation that Tizoxing didn't expect, and that was Tian-chan. Don't underestimate Lin Yi. Although he is a wandering cultivator, the eldest grandson of the ancient Feng family, Feng Shipian, and the direct disciple of the Holy Fist Palace, Li Siba, are all his underlings. In the hidden world, he has many underlings. So, although he is a wandering cultivator in name, he actually has a very powerful force behind him. Tian-chan introduced. So powerful. Tizoxing broke out in a cold sweat, thinking that it was fortunate that he didn't ask for help from Lin Yi. Otherwise, if he said something wrong and Lin Yi didn't help him, what would happen to the young master Tizoxing if he killed him? No wonder Zhang Naipeo didn't dare to cause trouble for Lin Yi after losing two of his sky-class followers. He didn't even dare to make a fart after coming back for so long. So this was the reason. However, the more it was like this, the more it showed how powerful Lin Yi was. Tu Tzoxing was injured by Zhang Naipeo, and Lin Yi was more powerful than Zhang Naipeo, so there was a high chance that he could treat Tu Tzoxing's injury. Yes, Lin Yi's temper is a bit strange. He doesn't help people who have nothing to do with him, but if his underlings and family are in trouble, he will not shirk his responsibility. Tian Chan continued. Moreover, the more you force him, the more he won't do what you say. As for how to beg him, you have to think of a way yourself. I see. Tu Tzoxing hesitated slightly. He didn't understand what Tian Chan was hinting at. Could it be that in order to treat Tu Tzoxing's injury, Huang Tugao had to recognize Lin Yi as his boss? But wasn't it a bit too strange for a big Huang sect to recognize Lin Yi, a wandering cultivator, as their boss? Moreover, this wasn't something he could decide. He had to listen to Tu Tzoxing. All right, this is as far as I can help you. The rest is up to you. Tian Chan said. Thank you, young Master Tian. Tu Tzoxing will remember this kindness. Once Tu Tzoxing is saved, our Huang Tugao sect will treat the entire Sky Elixir sect as our benefactor. Tu Tzoxing quickly said. Tian Chan raised an eyebrow and said faintly, I'm telling you this in private. Don't spread it around. Tu Tzoxing wasn't stupid. He immediately understood what Tian Chan meant. I understand. Our Huang Tugao sect will treat young Master Tian as our benefactor. If there's anything we can use, we will listen to you at any time. All right, you can go. Tian Chan nodded and said. Chapter 2884. Shopkeeper's son paused. Wasn't this Earth Diamond Star just trying to find something to talk about? This was an order from young Master Tian. How could he dare to not inform him? However, he still put on a smile and said, Haha, this is what I should do. Right? Do you know Lin Yi's room number? Earth Diamond Star asked. Oh, I do. I'll check for you. The room number of the participant wasn't a secret, and Shopkeeper's son didn't need to hide it. Very quickly, he found Lin Yi's room number and gave it to Earth Diamond Star. Thank you, Shopkeeper Sunday. Right, I heard that Lin Yi and Zhang Naipeo had some conflict. Earth Diamond Star probed. A little, it's like this. Shopkeeper's son had received the order from Silkworm Transformation long ago, and as for Earth Diamond Star's questions, he only needed to answer truthfully. And so, Shopkeeper's son told Earth Diamond Star about the conflict between Lin Yi and Zhang Naipeo in detail. When he heard that Lin Yi had crippled Mo and then returned with Zhang Naipeo, Earth Diamond Star pondered. Could it be that Zhang Naipeo had admitted defeat? Then from the looks of it, begging Lin Yi was the best way. With that thought, Earth Diamond Star said, Thank you, Shopkeeper Sunday. I'll go upstairs first. You can continue with your work. All right. Shopkeeper's son nodded casually. Earth Diamond Star didn't go back to visit Earth Tyrant, but went straight to Lin Yi's room. Standing in front of Lin Yi's room, he reached his hand out, but didn't dare knock on the door. He felt a huge pressure in his heart. Although the person inside was an Earth class, he had the strength to kill a Sky class in a second. Earth Diamond Star didn't dare to act recklessly. Finally, after taking a few deep breaths, he bravely knocked on the door and waited for the person inside to reply. Who is it? Come in. The door isn't locked. Although Lin Yi replied to the Earth Diamond planet quickly, those few seconds felt like a century to the Earth Diamond planet. Carefully pushing open the door and entering the room, Earth Diamond Star bowed deeply. I am Earth Diamond Star, a follower of Earth Tyrant Young Sect Master from the Yellow Earth High Sect. Greetings, Senior Lin. Seeing that the Earth Diamond Star had taken the initiative to greet him respectfully, Lin Yi knew that this was the result of Tian Chan's mediation. Although he didn't know how Tian Chan did it, he still said calmly, Oh, so you're the Earth Diamond Star from the Yellow Earth Sect. It's me. Has Senior Lin heard of me? Earth Diamond Star was delighted and nodded. Never heard of it. Lin Yi shook his head. Earth Diamond Star felt a little awkward, but he didn't dare to say anything. He just explained, Our Yellow Earth High Sect is in the Western region. It's normal that Senior Lin hasn't heard of us. Oh, what's the matter? Lin Yi asked, even though he already knew the answer. It's like this, Senior Lin. Earth Diamond Star hurriedly told Lin Yi about Earth Tyrant's injuries, including how he was using the Great Return pill to extend his life. He didn't hide anything and said, I heard from a friend that Senior Lin is a powerful person and has a way to treat our young sect master's injuries. What do you think? That Earth Tyrant was arrogant and despotic. He deserved to die. You can leave. Lin, he waved his hand and started to chase him away. It seemed like Tian Chan had already paved the way for him. If Lin, he didn't cooperate, he would be letting down Tian Chan's hard work. Don't. Senior Lin, although our Earth Tyrant's young sect master is young and arrogant, he isn't a bad person. Earth Diamond Star hurriedly explained. He's just young, and this is his first time out to train. He doesn't have much experience. You know that he is the young sect master, and no one dares to go against him. Everything he says goes. That's why he has such an aura. However, he is actually very pure and doesn't have any bad intentions. What does that have to do with me? Linny asked. I hope Senior Lin can save him. Earth Diamond Star gritted his teeth and said, Why should I save him? We aren't related to each other, and I don't even know him. What do I get out of saving him? Linny shook his head. Moreover, saving him will consume a lot of energy. I won't save him. Don't, Senior Lin. Look, if you have any requests, just tell us. We will try our best to satisfy you. Earth Diamond Star hurriedly said. As for Lin Yi saying that it would consume a lot of energy, he naturally believed him. If it wasn't troublesome, anyone would be able to treat him. Do you think I look like someone who would need your help? Lin Yi said mockingly as he looked at Earth Diamond Planet. Earth Diamond Star gritted his teeth and said, Our Earth Tyrant's young sect master has always admired the strong. If Senior Lin is able to treat his injuries, our young sect master might recognize you as his boss. This way, our Yellow Earth High sect will become Senior Lin's helper. What do you think? I have enough underlings. Every time they are in trouble, I have to help them. Do you think it's a good thing to have more underlings? Lin Yi rolled his eyes and said calmly. Lin Yi's words made Earth Diamond Star's eyes light up. Every time Lin Yi's underling was in trouble, Lin Yi would go and help them. That was great. In the future, if Earth Overlord became Lin Yi's underling, he would be able to look for Lin Yi directly. This was a great thing. The key was the attitude of the other members of the Yellow Earth High sect. From Earth Diamond Star's point of view, with Earth Overlord's personality, it wouldn't be difficult for him to become Lin Yi's underling. However, Earth Overlord was still the young sect master and not the sect master. Above him was Earth Tyrant's uncle, Tu Ching Song. Moreover, if Earth Overlord became the sect master of the Yellow Earth High sect in the future, the sect would definitely become Lin Yi's subordinate sect. It seemed like he had to contact Tu Ching Song about this when he returned. Earth Diamond Star didn't know what to say. Forget it. Let me see if his injuries can be treated first. Otherwise, it would be nonsense no matter what I say. Although Linny knew that he could definitely treat him, he still had to put on an act. Yes, Senior Lin, please. Earth Diamond Star hurriedly made an inviting gesture and invited Lin Yi to his room. Lin Yi followed Earth Diamond Star to Earth Overlord's room and saw Earth Overlord lying on the bed with a pale face. Lin Yi walked over and pretended to check before saying, I can treat him. Ah, that's great. Then, Senior Lin, when can we start the treatment? Earth Diamond Star was overjoyed. Did I say that I was going to heal him? Lin Yi retorted. Then why are you here? Earth Diamond Star was stunned. Chapter 2885. Yes. There's no rush. When Earth Diamond Star heard Lin Yi's words, he knew that there was a way. He quickly asked, Senior Lin, how much do you need? I heard that your sect has a treasure called the Earth Essence Fluid. Lin Yi asked, We do have it. Earth Diamond Star's face changed slightly. This was a treasure of the sect. Lin Yi wouldn't want it, right? That's good. 2 bottles of Earth Essence Fluid and the method to use it. I can save your young sect leader. Lin Yi said, 2 bottles. Earth Diamond Star's face turned even uglier. However, for the sake of the young sect leader's life, he still said, Senior Lin, I will ask our sect leader about your conditions. However, Please wait for a moment. No problem. Go ahead and ask. Lenny nodded. All right, Senior Lin. If we agree to your conditions, you will definitely be able to cure our young sect leader's injuries, right? Earth Diamond Star asked. Who said that he would be cured? I only said to save him. Lin, he said indifferently. Is this different? Earth Diamond Star was confused. Of course it's different. Saving him only means to revive him. He doesn't need to rely on the Great Restore pill to maintain his life. He can live like a normal person. However, curing him means to heal all the meridians in his body so that he can continue to cultivate. These are two different concepts. Don't mix them up. Lin, he waved his hand and said, Then, how can I cure him? Earth Diamond Star couldn't help but smile bitterly. Senior Lin, why don't you tell me all your conditions? I will ask the sect leader. I can save him. However, the healing of meridians is limited to the people around me. For example, my family members and brothers. I will not provide such treatment to outsiders. This is because it will consume a large amount of my true chi. I will not accept any conditions. Lin, he said resolutely. Earth Diamond Star was slightly taken aback. However, when she thought about what the heavenly silkworm transformation had told her about Lin Yi's personality, she realized that it wasn't surprising at all. But this wasn't a problem. As long as Tuo Ba was alive, then he could pester Lin Yi to be his boss. Wouldn't he be able to heal him? Therefore, Earth Diamond Star's top priority was to consult Tu Ching Song. Thus, he said to Lin, All right, Senior Lin, please wait a moment. I'll consult our Yellow Earth sect master. Go. Lin, he waved his hand. Earth Diamond Star walked out of the room and gave Tu Ching Song a call. Tu Ching Song's call was quickly connected. Tu Ching Song had been worrying about the local overlord during this period of time. This was his only nephew, and also the only direct bloodline of the Yellow Earth High faction. Although the Yellow Earth High sect wasn't small, there weren't many direct bloodlines. This was related to the inheritance of the Yellow Earth High faction's bloodline. There is a large amount of Earth element in the Yellow Earth High faction's bloodline. Logically speaking, this was an excellent Earth attribute physique, and it was very suitable to receive the Earth attribute comprehension inheritance. However, because male cultivators couldn't comprehend the inheritance, only female cultivators could. Therefore, the male cultivators of the Yellow Earth High faction's bloodline were very miserable. If they didn't step into the heaven stage before the age of 20, their only fate was to wait for death. Although the Earth attribute essence could extend the lifespan of a heaven stage Earth attribute spirit beast, it could only extend for 5 years each time. When they reached the age of 30, they could only die quietly. Moreover, heaven stage Earth attribute spirit beasts were very rare. Even if the Yellow Earth High faction kept one in captivity, they couldn't often extract its blood. Otherwise, the Earth attribute spirit beast wouldn't be able to bear it and would die. Tu Ching Song's father left the Yellow Earth High faction because 2 unexpected guests visited him, and his whereabouts were unknown. Tuo Ba's father died young because he didn't step into the heaven stage before the age of 20. Tu Ching Song only had one daughter. When she was young, she left with Tu Ching Song's father because of that unexpected visit. Afterwards, there was no news of her. After that, Tuo Ba became the only continuation of the Yellow Earth High faction's bloodline. Therefore, how could Tu Ching Song not be worried? Although Tu Ching Song was now in his prime, and it wouldn't be a problem for him to have another son, the key problem was that it would be extremely difficult to nurture another heaven stage before the age of 20. Diamond Star, is there any news? How is your contact with the Heavenly Elixir sect? Is there any hope for Tuo Ba? Tu Ching Song quickly asked after picking up the phone. There is. Earth Diamond Star quickly said, Sect Master, I want to see the Heavenly Elixir sect's young sect master, and he introduced me to someone. As he spoke, Earth Diamond Star told Tu Ching Song about Lin Yi's matter. The matter of him asking Lin Yi to treat Tuo Ba's injuries, and the conditions that Lin Yi had set. After listening to Earth Diamond Star's words, although Tu Ching Song was excited, he was, after all, the sect master of an ancient sect. He instantly calmed down and fell into contemplation. although the conditions that Lin had set seemed a bit outrageous. Asking for 2 bottles of Earth Essence fluid, relatively speaking, Tuo Ba's life was more important. However, if Lin could restore Tuo Ba to normal, then it would be fine. The problem now was that Lin only saved Tuo Ba's life, but he didn't treat him well. Tuo Ba's meridians were still crippled, and Lin didn't offer any other conditions in exchange for treatment. The only feasible solution was for Tuo Ba to become Lin Yi's underling, so that Lin could help treat him. This was the reason why Tu Qing Song was hesitant. Being the underling of a large yellow Earth High faction wouldn't be good for his reputation. And secondly, Tu Qing Song didn't want to be under someone else. However, face and reputation couldn't be compared to Tuo Ba's life. Tuo Ba was the only bloodline descendant of the Yellow Earth High faction. Tu Qing Song didn't want the bloodline of the Yellow Earth High faction to end because of a bit of face and reputation. Although the nephews of the other elders in the sect weren't bad, and there was no lack of materials to nurture them into young sect masters, the Yellow Earth High faction would lose the qualifications to inherit the power of the Earth element. An ancient sect without an inheritor would be a second-grade sect in the future plan. Tu Qing Song didn't want the Yellow Earth High faction to fall from its pedestal. A lone cultivator has so much power. Tu Qing Song pondered for a moment and asked, "The everyday sect actually doesn't dare to touch him. It seems like it. Even the young sect master of the Celestial Silkworm sect said so. I'm afraid that this Lin isn't an ordinary person." Earth Diamond Star said. "Lin lone cultivator." Tu Qing Song frowned. "Why does this name feel so familiar? But I can't remember." Chapter 2886. Lin. This surname isn't common in the Western region. Let me think. Tu Qing Song slapped his head. Lin. Yes. Could it be him? Tu Qing Song's memory wasn't bad. He suddenly recalled something and exclaimed in surprise, scaring the Earth Diamond planet on the other end of the line. "Gate Master, what is he? Do you know Lin?" Earth Diamond Star was confused. He didn't know what Tu Qing Song was talking about. Lin Dongfang. Lily. That's right, when that person brought Ran away, he told father that Ran would train with Lily and the others. Could it be him? Tu Qing Song muttered to himself without answering. Earth Diamond Star saw that Tu Qing Song didn't want to answer him and only said some random name. He didn't dare to continue asking and could only wait silently. Earth Diamond Star, later, asked that Lin, "Does he know Lin Dongfang? What's his relationship with him?" Tu Qing Song finished sorting out the meridians and came to a rough conclusion. He then instructed the Earth Diamond Star. "Oh, all right." Although Earth Diamond Star didn't know why Tu Qing Song would ask this question and what kind of person Lin Dongfang was, he naturally had to ask since it was the sect master's order. "I'll go and ask now, and we can agree to the 2 bottles of Earth Essence. Let him save Earth Tyrant first. After you ask this question, quickly relay the answer to me, and I'll decide what to do next," Tu Qing Song said hurriedly. "Okay, I'll reply to Linny now." Earth Diamond Star nodded. "Wait, you must be respectful and don't call him by his name," Tu Qing Song reminded. "Don't worry, Gate Master. I'm just reporting to you. I always call Lin Senior Lin in front of him." Earth Diamond Star startled. He didn't understand why the Gate Master was so concerned about this. Lin didn't have the mood to eavesdrop on the conversation between Earth Diamond Star and his Gate Master. Although eavesdropping wasn't difficult for Lin wasn't that kind of person. "Are you done asking?" Lin asked calmly. "Yes, Senior Lin." Earth Diamond Star hurriedly said, "Our sect leader said that he can give you 2 bottles of Earth Essence fluid. This is not a problem. Please save our young sect leader first." "Oh, okay." Lin nodded. "Do we start now? But when will you give me the Earth Essence?" After we return to the Western region. How about we immediately send someone to deliver it to Senior Lin?" Earth Diamond Star asked carefully. "It's been too long. Send someone to deliver it now." Lin waved his hand and said impatiently, "Besides, if you leave and don't give it to me, do you think I can go to the Western region to find you? I don't have the time." "Oh, that works too." Earth Diamond Star had never thought of going back on his words. Since the sect master had already agreed to it, there was no way he would change his mind. Hence, he nodded his head and said, I will send someone to send it over by plane. Okay, then let's start the treatment now. Lin, he nodded. By the way, when I'm doing the treatment, please wait outside. No problem. All right, Senior Lin, can I ask you a question? Earth Diamond Star asked. Oh, go ahead. Lin, he didn't think much of it. May I ask, Senior Lin, do you know Mr. Lin Dongfang? Earth Diamond Star asked carefully. Oh, Lin, he was stunned. You know him? Why are you asking this? This is what our sect leader told me to ask. May I ask, what is your relationship with Mr. Lin Dongfang? Earth Diamond Star continued to ask. Lin, he hesitated. He didn't know if Yellow Earth sect was friend or foe. But thinking about it, so what if they were enemies? So what if they were friends? If they were enemies, they wouldn't dare to do anything to him. They even had to beg him. Lin, he could take the chance to extort more things from them. If they were friends, then he would at most help two Overlord recover. Lin, he wouldn't suffer any losses. Thinking about this, Lin, he said honestly, you can say that he is my grandfather. Okay, Senior Lin, then you can start treating the young sect leader. I will go out and hide. Earth Diamond Star nodded and prepared to reply to sect leader Tu Ching Song. Lin, he was a little confused. Earth Diamond Star didn't say anything else after asking. He didn't even say if they were friends or foes. What did he mean? However, Lin, he didn't think too much about it. Maybe he had only heard of Lin Dongfang's reputation as a miracle doctor. Actually, even if Earth Diamond Star didn't watch, he wouldn't be able to learn Lin Yi's treatment method. It was just that Lin, he didn't want Earth Diamond Star to know that he saved two Overlords so easily. If that was the case, it wouldn't be worth it. So, after Earth Diamond Star left, Lin, he didn't bother about two Overlord. Instead, he sat at the side and started cultivating. After Earth Diamond Star left the room, the first thing he did was to call Tu Ching Song. Diamond Star, how is it? Is there any news? Tu Ching Song picked up the phone and asked quickly. Yes, there is news. Earth Diamond Star said. Lin, he said that Lin Dongfang can be considered his grandfather. Hiss. Tu Ching Song took a deep breath. It really has something to do with that person. Previously, he thought that his imagination was a little funny and not very reliable. But now, it seemed that his guess was correct. What's wrong, sect leader? Earth Diamond Star heard that Tu Ching Song's voice wasn't normal, so he asked quickly. Nothing, Diamond Star. Think of a way to make two Overlord recognize Lin E as his boss. Of course, he must be sincerely convinced. He can't put on an act. Tu Ching Song instantly made a decision. If Lin E was really that person's grandson, then he had made the right bet. If he could form a relationship with Lin E, it would be the same as forming a relationship with those two people. Although he didn't know where those two people were now, there would be a day when they would make a comeback. Earth Diamond Star was stunned. He didn't know why sect leader Tu Ching Song suddenly made such a decision, but he didn't dare to ask too much. He only said, yes, I understand. When young sect leader wakes up, I will pass on your message to him. And if he doesn't listen, call me directly. I will talk to him. Tu Ching Song said. Yes, sect leader. Earth Diamond Star replied quickly. After hanging up the phone, Tu Ching Song's face flashed with excitement. If Tu Ching Song could become the underling of those two people, it wouldn't be a shameful thing. In the past, the everyday sect was proud of it. Others couldn't wait to be envious. Chapter 2887. Mr. Lang, how is it? You've taken all the goods from before, haven't you? You started the transportation already, right? Tianli asked. Mr. Liu, I'm sorry, but there's a problem. Xiao Chun's voice was very low. Oh, what problem? Tianli paused, but because the hypnotist's hypnotism was deeply implanted in his brain, he trusted Little Pure quite a bit. He didn't doubt her at all. It's like this because there's a lot of goods this time, and the smugglers at the border have some objections. They didn't agree to the price we agreed on, and now the goods are stuck at the border, and we can't get through. It's really troublesome. Xiao Chun sighed helplessly. Oh, how much do they want? Tianli understood. After all, The smugglers wouldn't have any objections if they kept the same price as before, as long as they weren't idiots. Another 200 million in tolls. Xiaochun said, "Man, this time it's a bit too much." "It's not that much, but it's nothing compared to the value of the goods." Tianli's trust in Xiaochun had been hypnotized, but he still maintained the mind of a businessman. "But the situation now is that I don't have a single cent of cash on hand, and I've mortgaged my property as well, so I can't get any more cash." "I see," Xiaochun thought. It seemed like she'd squeezed all of Tianli's funds dry this time, and it was time to close the net. "Then I'll discuss it with him again, and I'll do some research on my side as well, see if I can get enough money." "Sure, I'll take a look on my side as well. If I really can't, I'll borrow some from my old friends," Tianli said. "Once our cigarettes come over, we'll get it back with interest." "That's true. All right, we'll keep in touch," Xiaochun said. After ending the call, Xiaochun turned to Jiang Wen respectfully. "Master Wen, it's about time. I don't think Tianli has any more money left." "Yeah, not even 200 million? It seems like he really doesn't have any left." Jiang Wen nodded. "We can proceed with the final plan now. We'll screw him over." "Yes, Master Wen. Let's wait a few days and see if he can still get the money," Xiaochun replied. "All right, do as you see fit. Find a time and tell him about our plan. Then we can go home," Jiang Wen said. Donghai City, Qibing hid in the hidden house Zhao for a while and realized that the hidden house Yu didn't do anything to him. He breathed a sigh of relief and returned to the floating cloud bar. In fact, hiding House Yu was because of Yu Shan, and they didn't have the time to cause trouble for Zhao Qibing. At most, Zhao Qibing was just bewitched by Yu Shan, and Yu Shan was the true dirty linen of House Yu. They didn't even have enough time to cover it up, so why would they bring it up? So they let Zhao Qibing go. But as for the hidden house Zhao, House Yu didn't treat them as in-laws anymore. They completely broke off their relationship with them, and Yu Shaojin, naturally, became a sacrifice. Without the support of the hidden house Yu Shaojin became someone that no one cared for or loved. She lost her position in the hidden house Zhao, and Guanyin didn't have to look at Xiaojin's face anymore. Zhao Qikuan was regretting it recently. That time, when Lin Yi came to the hidden house and threatened to break his legs, Zhao Qibing was afraid that Lin Yi would cause trouble for him because of Yuning, so he didn't come out and meet with Lin Yi. But now that the storm had passed, it was clear that there was nothing more to it. House Yu wasn't going to pursue the matter, and it seemed like Lin Yi wasn't going to pursue it either. Zhao Qibing was starting to regret it. Wasn't it better to come out back then? How good would it be if he came out? Lin Yi would break his legs for him. And so, the first thing he did when he got back to the floating cloud bar was to visit Lin Yi. As far as he was concerned, even if Lin Yi didn't agree, he wouldn't do anything to him in school. Of course, the most important reason was that Zhao Qibing wanted to find out more about Lin Yi. According to the time of the test, Lin Yi and Zhao Qikuan should be back by now, but Zhao Qikuan didn't appear at House Zhao. This made Zhao Qibing a little uncertain, not knowing if Zhao Qikuan was still alive or not. He wanted to go to school to see if Lin Yi was there. He didn't know that Lin Yi and Zhang Naipeo were delayed in the 5 Malefic Barons for a few more days. Zhao Qibing found Lin Yi's class easily and found Tiger Yu. "Isn't this Master Bing? Long time no see. I heard that you've been hiding?" House Yu and House Zhao's situation have been kept a low profile on purpose, but House Yu and other hidden houses still receive the news. Haha, how is that possible? Why would I hide? Why would I hide? Zhao Qibing was a little embarrassed, but he was thick-skinned and didn't care, right? Have you seen Lin Yi? Didn't Lin Yi go to the sky, elixir test? Tiger Yu paused. HM? Judging from the time, he should be back by now. Did he die? Tiger Yu would be happy if Lin Yi died, but Lin Yi's presence pissed him off. He couldn't do anything about it. Once Lin Yi died, he would be able to hit on Han Jingjing without any worries. I think so too, so I can't ask about it. My Chiton didn't come back either, Zhao Qibing said. That unlucky brother of yours. Tiger Yu shook his head. I'm not sure. Why don't you ask Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing? She might know. Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing. Huh? I'm not that familiar with them. Zhao Qibing wasn't that familiar with Wang Xinyan and Han Jingjing, so it was useless to ask. Then there's nothing I can do. Tiger Yu decided to stay out of this until he was sure that Lin Yi was dead. He had learned his lesson before, and he didn't want to be taught a lesson by Lin Yi again. It's fine, I'll go ask. Qibing had no choice but to walk to Xin Yan's side, scaring her a little. What are you doing? Xin Yan had seen Zhao Qibing before, but she wasn't that familiar with him. He was a scary person, threatening to break someone's leg at the slightest provocation. Xin Yan didn't want to have anything to do with him. It's nothing much, actually. I just wanted to ask, is Lin Yi back? Zhao Qibing asked. Lin Yi? Why do you ask? Xin Yan was a little cautious, not knowing what Zhao Qibing wanted. Chapter 2888. I don't know. Xin Yan shook her head. I've been staying in the dorms these days and haven't gone back to Lin Yi's villa. I don't know either. Ugh. I see. Qibing was a little disappointed. Then did Lin Yi contact you? Ask Meng Yao and Yushu if you need anything. I really don't know. Xin Yan didn't dare to say anything, and she really didn't know what was going on with Lin Yi. I'm going to look for them. Qibing's mouth twitched. Meng Yao was fine, but Yushu reminded him of his skyscraper. This girl wanted to see his skyscraper collapse, and it really did. Qibing was traumatized. I'm going to study now. Help yourself. Xin Yan didn't want to talk too much with Qibing. She picked up a book and lowered her head. Qibing had no choice but to go to the economics faculty to look for Meng Yao and Yushu. Meng Yao and Yushu, on the other hand, weren't as easy to find as Xin Yan. Qibing didn't know where their classes were. There wasn't a fixed class sign in university, unlike biomedicine, where they would always be in the same classroom. So, Qibing went to the economics faculty building and asked for the class timetable. He looked for the class according to the timetable, and when he found it, it was almost time for school to end. This was good, though. He had more time to ask after school. Seeing Meng Yao and Yushu walk out of the classroom hand in hand, Qibing quickly ran over. Miss Chu, Miss Chun, long time no see. Zhao Qibing. Meng Yao was surprised to see Qibing. She didn't know what he was here for. What are you doing here? Miss Chu, it's like this. I'm looking for Lin Yi. Do you know how to contact him? Qibing went straight to the point. What are you looking for Shield Bro for? Yushu answered for Meng Yao. Zhao Qibing was most afraid of talking to Yushu. He purposely talked to Meng Yao to avoid talking to Yushu, but he didn't expect Yushu to take over the topic. It's like this. I asked Lin Yi to break my legs, he promised me. Qibing said, but it's been so long, and he still hasn't fulfilled his promise. Oh, Yushu humphed, neither agreeing nor disagreeing with the idea. You don't believe me? It's true. Before he left for the test, he purposely went to our hidden house, Zhao, but I wasn't home at that time, so I didn't make it in time. After I came back, the first thing I did was to find him. Qibing lied. What did I say? I didn't believe you. Yushu asked. You mean? Qibing looked at Yushu hesitantly. Shield Bro actually told me before he left that I'd do it for you, if you came looking for him to break your legs. Yushu said with a straight face. Zhao Qibing didn't believe her. He wasn't an idiot. He believed whatever Yushu said. He asked back, really? You don't believe me? Yushu narrowed her eyes, repeating what Qibing said to him. It's not that I don't believe you. I mean, Lin Yi might have told you, but do you know how to do it? Qibing smiled bitterly, not daring to offend Yushu. Fuck, why not? Yushu put her hands on her waist. Shield Bro taught me all the skills. I'm a professional now. Forget it. I won't trouble you. We'll talk about it when Lin Yi comes back in a few days. Qikun didn't believe in Yushu's skills. This was no joke. Oh, you don't want to do it? Yushu narrowed her eyes and looked at Qibing with a smile that wasn't a smile. Don't regret it. I've been learning from Shield Bro for a few days just to break your legs, and I've broken quite a few trees already. It's fine if you don't want to fight, but when Shield Bro comes back, I'll tell him that you don't want to fight anymore, and he won't break your legs anymore. Shield Bro listens to Shu the most. Qibing's forehead was covered in cold sweat, blaming himself for talking too much. Why did he start a conversation with Yushu? Now, he was in a dilemma. If he didn't let Yushu do it, this girl would definitely say bad things about Lin Yi. And if Lin Yi listened to her, then he'd have no hope of breaking his legs. But if he let her do it, Qibing wouldn't be at ease. What if she couldn't break it? Hey, are you going to do it or not? If you don't, Yao Yao and I are going home to play. Move. Yushu was getting impatient, seeing Qibing's hesitation. Yes, yes. Is it here? Qibing gritted his teeth and made his decision. He couldn't break it, and he couldn't kill him. He wouldn't die even if he tried, but if it really broke, then he'd be lucky. Let's go to the empty space downstairs. Find yourself a metal rod, Yushu said. All right, then you have to do your best and try to break it. Qibing reminded. Don't worry. Why don't you trust me? Don't you know that I have a name called Professional Leg Breaker Shoe? Yushu waved her hand impatiently. Hurry up and find a rod. I do have a rod. After going downstairs, Qibing waved his hand. Uncle Zhu, bring me the rod. Uncle Zhu was waiting for Qibing downstairs. He brought a metal rod with him just to see Lin Yi. It was especially for Lin Yi to break his legs. Although Lin Yi didn't use a metal rod most of the time, it was better to be prepared. Yes, Master Bing. Uncle Zhu passed the metal rod to Qibing. All right, what do you think about this rod? Qibing passed the metal rod to Yushu. All right, then get ready. I'm going to hit you. Yushu raised the metal rod and looked at Qibing's leg, thinking about how to break it. Miss Chun, can you hurry up? I'm waiting here. Qibing waited for a long time, but Yushu didn't make a move. He was getting anxious. He had kept his chi barrier on, but this wasn't something he could control. Although he had improved recently, he still couldn't control it. Otherwise, he could easily find someone to break his leg. Aya, coming. Yushu raised her iron rod and smashed it on Qibing's right thigh, making a crisp bang sound. Chapter 2889. Why wouldn't I know how to hit you? It's your leg that's broken. Yushu humphed. Are you going to hit me or not? Can you not be so nosy? You're ruining my mood. I can hit you, but Miss Chun, can you break it? My leg is swollen, but it's not broken. Qibing said bitterly. Oh right, I forgot. Yushu suddenly slapped her head. Shield Bro told me to use Pinliang's mystical steel rod before he left. Yours isn't a mystical steel rod. Then why didn't you say so earlier? Qibing was speechless. He knew about Pinliang's steel rod, too. It could break through the chi protection of any practitioner under Sky Class. He didn't use chi protection when Yushu hit him, but after the pain, he instinctively used it. So other than pain, Yushu didn't do any damage to Zhao Qibing. But the mystical steel rod was different. It could break through Qibing's chi protection, and this way, the damage from the rod would land on his body. Naturally, the damage would be severe, but when Yushu mentioned that Lin Yi told her to use the steel rod, Qibing believed her 70 to 80%. He'd thought that Yushu was just making things up to play with him, but now it seemed like that wasn't the case. You're blaming me for not telling you earlier that your own rod isn't good? I won't hit you anymore, Yushu raged. Don't, please don't, just hit me, I beg you. Qibing panicked and quickly begged. Let's go to your house now. Oh, seeing that you're so sincere about breaking your leg. Let's go. Yushu nodded. Meng Yao was a little puzzled. Since when did Lin Yi teach Shu the secret to breaking a leg? But it seemed like Yushu was just messing around with Qibing. Thinking about it, it made sense. Lin Yi was out, and in order to avoid unnecessary trouble, they kept a low profile every day. They didn't go to school, and they didn't go to other places. Their daily life was monotonous, and now that Zhao Qibing came to their doorstep, Yushu wouldn't be Yushu if she didn't take the chance to mess with him. All right, let's go then. Qibing's leg healed as fast as it hurt. It was just a bruise. He could take it. Qibing let Uncle Zhu drive and followed Meng Yao and Han Jingjing's BMW X5M to Meng Yao's villa. Is it okay now? Zhao Qibing got off the car and couldn't wait. He had been practicing 1,000 kicks for a long time, but he was stuck on the broken leg. He had been waiting for a chance, and now that it was here, he wouldn't let it go. It's already 6 in the evening. I need to eat. You might not be hungry, but I'm starving. Right, I haven't eaten yet. I need to get something to eat. Yushu said all of a sudden. You still need to eat. Qibing said helplessly. What do you want to eat? I'll get Uncle Zhu to buy it for you. Oh, that's okay. I want to eat the spicy soup and grilled squid from the commercial street. Get him to buy me 2 bowls of spicy soup and 10 skewers of grilled squid. Yushu had wanted to eat for a long time, but Lin Yi wasn't home. She didn't want to attract trouble, so she didn't eat. But now that Qibing was here for free, she wouldn't hold back. Oh, okay, Uncle Zhu, you go. Qibing said to Uncle Zhu. Even if Yushu wanted to have a big meal, he'd buy it for her. Who asked him to break his leg in such a hurry? Yes, Master Bing, Uncle Zhu said and drove to buy the snacks. Qibing, on the other hand, asked, Miss Chun, is it okay now? Okay, let's begin. Yushu found the steel rod and raised it, aiming at Qibing's leg. I'm ready, relax. You can protect yourself with Qi. Okay, I know. To be honest, Qibing wanted the steel rod in Yushu's hand. It was a good thing. If he could get his hands on it, he wouldn't need to find Lin Yi to break his leg. He could just find someone else to do it for him. But it was just a thought. He didn't dare to take Lin Yi's stuff. Wasn't that asking for death? If he brought trouble to the hidden house Zhao, he wouldn't be able to handle it. Bang! Yushu's rod smashed over, accurately hitting Zhao Qibing's right leg. Ouch! Zhao Qibing screamed in pain. This time, he heard a crack sound and thought that his leg was broken. The pain was worth it, but when he raised his leg to take a closer look, his right leg wasn't broken at all. It was just that the bone was cracked. Hey, Yushu, what are you doing? It's not broken. It's just a fracture. Do you know how to fight or not? Zhao Qibing panicked a little. His leg, a fractured bone, and a broken bone were two different things. A fractured bone was useless. I don't know how to fight, but you do? Why are you so nosy? Yushu wasn't happy. Are you going to fight or not? If not, I'm going to eat. I'll fight, but you have to fight properly. Qibing didn't dare to refuse. He braced himself and said, Hit me again. Fine, you're too nosy. Yushu raised the steel rod and smashed it at Qibing's left leg. Bang! Crack! Another crisp sound. Qibing knelt on the ground. His right leg had just been fractured, and he didn't dare to use any strength. He only supported himself with his left leg, but Zhao Qibing thought that Yushu would still hit his right leg. He didn't expect that Yushu would hit his left leg instead. Ouch! Qibing screamed again. He was finally angry. Yushu, do you know how to fight or not? Right leg, not left leg. You hit the wrong one. Wrong one. Is that so? Yushu looked at Qibing, confused. That's right, isn't it a set? Both sides are broken. There's no problem. Break your head. I want to break it, not break it. You're too lousy. Lin Yi broke it in one hit. Your skills aren't good enough. Qibing was angry, but he didn't dare to let it out. Break your head. You dare say my skills aren't good enough? Yushu raged. She raised the steel rod and smashed it on Qibing's head. I'll break your head. Bang! Chapter 2890. Mengyao had been with Lin Yi for a long time, and she'd seen a lot of bloodshed. She wasn't afraid, but she didn't know whether to laugh or cry at Shu's actions. Zhao Qibing was screwed over. At that moment, Uncle Zhu drove back. He got out of the car with the snacks and saw Yushu smashing Zhao Qibing's head. He froze. This is... Oh, the food is here. Yushu grabbed a steel rod and ran to Uncle Zhu. She snatched the snacks from his hands and said to Meng Yao, Yao Yao, we're going to eat. With that, she ran into the villa. Meng Yao was helpless. She shrugged at Uncle Zhu. Hurry up and get him out of here. Master Bing, he's dead? Uncle Zhu was shocked. He's not dead. He's probably unconscious. Meng Yao knew the relationship between Uncle Zhu and Lin Yi, so she didn't guard against him. Uncle Zhu nodded and walked over to check Zhao Qibing's breathing. He breathed out in relief when he realized that Zhao Qibing was still breathing. He quickly brought him to the hidden house. Although Zhao Qibing's head and legs were broken, he was a practitioner after all. He woke up not long after returning to the hidden house. However, he had a splitting headache. His legs weren't the worst, but Yushu's strike on his head was quite ruthless. Even his skull was broken. Old Zhao came as well. He was speechless after hearing Zhao Qibing's story, but he understood how Zhao Qibing felt. It was good that he wanted to train 1,000 legs. It was Yushu's fault for messing with him. Uncle Zhu, on the other hand, wasn't punished. After all, it wasn't his fault. Zhao Qibing was the one who asked Yushu to hit him. It had nothing to do with him. Besides, he was sent out to buy snacks when it happened. You should take a small recovery pill. I'm afraid that it'll leave some side effects. Old Zhao sighed and said to Zhao Qibing, But Grandpa, are my legs broken for nothing? I was so close to breaking it. Cheebing wasn't willing to give up. Otherwise, he would have taken the pill a long time ago. Uncle Zhu, you should have broken Cheebing's leg when he was unconscious. Now that he's awake, there's nothing we can do, old Zhao said helplessly. But how could I do it under those circumstances? Uncle Zhu smiled bitterly. That's true. You're loyal to Cheebing. I know that. Forget it, Elder Mian. Give Cheebing a small rejuvenation pill first, then we'll make plans. Old Zhao felt that things weren't going well recently, especially with Lin Yi getting stronger and stronger. To the hidden house, Zhao, he was always a threat. However, he had no way of killing Lin Yi, and the other hidden houses were waiting patiently. This put him in a difficult position. How could they allow the other hidden families to band together and kill Lin Yi? Old Zhao began to think about the possibility of joining forces. He believed that no matter how strong Lin Yi was, he wouldn't be able to fight against all the hidden houses working together. Lin Yi practiced until nighttime. He got up and looked at Tu Xiaowang, who wasn't far from him. To Lin Yi, Tu Xiaowang's injuries weren't serious. These injuries were nothing. Lin Yi walked over and grabbed Tu Xiaowang's wrist. He activated the second stage of the art of dragon mastery and quickly healed Tu Xiaowang's injuries. However, he bypassed Tu Xiaowang's meridians. They were still the same as before. Of course, if it was the old Lin Yi, he wouldn't be able to do this with the first stage of the art of dragon mastery. However, Lin Yi could use the second stage of the art of dragon mastery with ease. This wasn't a problem at all. Tu Xiaowang used the Great Recovery Pill to prolong his life, and the nutrients he needed were more than enough. It was just that many parts of his body were damaged, and he couldn't wake up. After Lin Yi healed him, Tu Xiaowang woke up. You? Who are you? Tyrant opened his eyes, shocked as he looked at Lin Yi, who had just let go of his wrist. He didn't know where he was, but all he remembered was that when he hit Nai Peo, he'd been hit back with an even stronger force, knocking him out. Lin Yi said faintly, "All right, you're awake now? I should go." Wait a minute. You saved me? Tu Xiaowang was arrogant, but he wasn't an idiot. He knew how heavily injured he was. He was prepared to die because the Dahuan Dan didn't work. But now that he had woken up, Tu Xiaowang checked his body's condition. Other than his meridians being broken, he couldn't train. His bodily functions had returned to normal. This meant that someone had saved him. Now, Lin Yi was beside him, but Tu Xiaowang's follower Tu Xiaowang wasn't with him. This meant that Lin Yi must have saved him. Yes, but you don't need to thank me. You're not my follower. I don't have the obligation to save you for free. Your follower Tu Xiaowang already promised me 2 bottles of Earth Essence as compensation. Lin Yi said, "All right, I should go." This. Tu Xiaowang had just woken up. His mind wasn't clear yet, but he could guess that Lin Yi was a master. He wanted to say a few more words to Lin Yi, but Lin Yi wasn't going to talk to him. He could only shut his mouth. Zhang Naipeo's lesson this time was quite deep. Tu Xiaowang knew that there was always someone better than him. He didn't dare force Lin Yi, someone who could save him. He needed to understand the situation first. Lin Yi walked out the door, and Tu Xiaowang, who had been waiting anxiously not too far away, came up to him. It was as if he was waiting for a doctor's family. Tu Xiaowang quickly asked, "Senior Lin, how is he?" Tu Xiaowang, "He's alive," Lin Yi said. Then, "Is he out of danger? Can I go in now?" Tu Xiaowang asked carefully, afraid that he'd do something wrong. "Of course he's inside. You can go in and talk to him." Lin Yi didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This isn't an operation. He's still in danger. Chapter 2891. If you're not afraid that he'll kill you, continue. Lin Yi said faintly. That's... Earth-swishing realized that he'd gotten a little ahead of himself. He smiled awkwardly. There's no one here, right? Plus, with Senior Lin here, Zhang Naipeo wouldn't dare do anything to us. Ha! Lin Yi didn't refute it. He only smiled faintly. I'm going back to my room to rest. Bring me the Earth Essence as soon as possible. All right, Senior Lin, you should go rest first. Earth-swishing had wanted to talk more with Lin Yi, But remembering that Lin he had just healed Tu Zhan Wang, he must be exhausted. It was normal for him to want to rest, so he didn't dare stop him. Lin he nodded and left. Earth Diamond Star, on the other hand, couldn't wait to enter Ta Tuo's room. Young head, are you all right? Zwishing, I'm fine. My body's all recovered, but my meridians are still broken. Tu Zhan Wang was alive, but he wasn't in a good mood. That's great. Senior Lin is amazing. He's a man of his words. Earth Swishing breathed out in relief after seeing Tu Zhan Wang sitting up. Who was the person who saved me before? Tu Zhan Wang was very curious about Lin Yi. He didn't really care about anything else. Young master, you're talking about Senior Lin Yi? Earth Swishing didn't need to hide anything from Tu Zhan Wang. He told Tu Zhan Wang everything that happened after Tu Zhan Wang fainted, including him asking for help with silkworm transformation, finding Lin Yi, and discussing terms with the headmaster. That Senior Lin, why is he so strong? Isn't he afraid of offending Zhang Naipeo by saving me? Tu Xiaowang was filled with respect for Lin Yi after hearing the words. Someone that even his silkworm transformation couldn't handle had to be a master. It was just that he'd made an enemy out of Zhang Naipeo for no reason, and it wasn't worth it. There's something else I didn't go into. Senior Lin and Zhang Naipeo are enemies, and those Mo Ba and Mo Jiu by Naipeo's side are all gone. One dead, one injured. It was all done by Senior Lin. Earth Zwishing explained, Zhang Naipeo doesn't even dare to fart, evidently afraid of Senior Lin. So, Senior Lin doesn't need to worry about him. So strong. Tu Zhan Wang didn't expect Lin Yi to be this strong. He was a black horse in this test. Which sect is he from? He's a rogue cultivator. Earth Diamond Star said, but I heard that a few direct disciples of the ancient era are his underlings. Sigh, our Yellow Earth High sect doesn't have any relationship with him. If only the young sect master was his underling, he would even be able to repair your meridians. It's just that, unless it's someone related to him, he wouldn't waste any effort to help. If it's someone unrelated to him, he wouldn't help no matter what conditions he offers. We paid 2 bottles of the Earth Element Essence this time, and all we got in return was to bring you back to life, young master. Freelancer. There are even minions from the ancient era? He can even repair my meridians? Tu Zhan Wang was completely shocked. This person didn't sound like a normal freelancer at all. All his followers were from an ancient sect, and they were omnipotent. This was almost on the same level as 5 Elements sect. Yes, that's what the Silkworm Transformation young master said. It can't be false. Earth Swishing nodded. As for meridians, I had my suspicions before, but the great master didn't. Perhaps he knows something. So, as long as I call him boss, he'll help me repair my meridians? Tu Zhan Wang suddenly remembered what Lin Yi said before he left. You're not my follower. I don't have the obligation to save you for free. Didn't that mean that if he became his follower, Lin Yi would repair his meridians for free? With that thought, Tu Zhan Wang was a little excited. He wasn't calling Lin Yi boss just to repair his meridians. The main thing was that with a boss like Lin Yi, at least people like Zhang Naipeo wouldn't dare hit him anymore. Plus, Lin Yi was so strong and would become the biggest helper of Yellow Soil sect in the future. Calling him boss was a very good deal. But Tu Zhan Wang was a little worried about his uncle's attitude. After all, he was the young master of an ancient sect, and calling Lin Yi boss wasn't a big deal right now. But once he took over the position, wouldn't the entire Yellow Soil sect be Lin Yi's follower? That should be the case, but I'm afraid that Senior Lin won't take you in. Tu Zhanxing smiled bitterly. Even Tu Qingsong was hinting for him to make things happen between Tu Zhan Wang and Lin Yi. Lin Yi was really capable. Otherwise, the sect master wouldn't have said that. But this way, it wouldn't be easy to call Lin Yi boss. Lin Yi had said that he had enough followers already and wouldn't take in just anyone. It seemed like there needed to be an opportunity. Pester me with soft and hard tactics. Plus, didn't he ask for the essence of the earth element? He doesn't know how to use it, and only my uncle and I know this secret. So if he wants to know, I'll have to tell him myself. After a while, we'll get familiar, and I'll take the chance to call him boss. Tu Zhan Wang said, but what I'm worried about is, how do I explain this to my uncle? Tu Zhan Wang admired absolute masters, especially when Lin Yi defeated Zhang Naipeo. He was only worried about his uncle's side. That's fine. Tu Zhanqing nodded. You don't have to worry too much about the headmaster. He's already said that you can get closer to Senior Lin, young master. Everything is up to you. Oh, did uncle really say that? Tu Zhanwang wasn't stupid. He understood immediately, but he was a little surprised. With his uncle's personality, why would he agree? Even if it was to heal his meridians, it wouldn't be that easy, right? Yes, if you don't believe me, you can call the headmaster. Tu Zhanqing nodded. There's no need for that. Why would I doubt your words? Tu Zhanwang waved his hand. He was just a little confused, but he didn't doubt Tu Zhanqing's words at all. He'd been with him for so many years, and he'd always been loyal. Chapter 2892. Now, Tuo Xiaowang shook his head, a bitter smile on his face. Mr. Lin's acting like he doesn't want anyone to disturb himself. After saving me, he just said a few words and left, as if he didn't want to talk to me anymore. Then what do we do? Tuo Xiaowang realized for the first time that making a young master of an ancient sect acknowledge a freelancer as his boss was a difficult thing. The difficulty didn't lie with the young master of the ancient sect. It lay with the freelancer. When is the person delivering the essence coming? Tuo Xiaowang asked after some thought. Should be tomorrow. He's taking a private jet, so it shouldn't be long, Tuo Xiaowang said. Yep, tomorrow then. I'll explain to Senior Lin how to use the essence when it's delivered, and we'll see what his attitude is like when I call him boss. Tuo Xiaowang said. Sounds good, Tuo Xiaowang nodded. After leaving Tuo Xiaowang's room, Lin Yi didn't go back to his own room. He went to Yang Qiqi's room and knocked on the door. Qiqi was talking to Lil Nine on the phone when the knocking came. Who will be knocking at a time like this? Didn't Lin Yi go treat Tuo Xiaowang? Who is it? Qiqi asked. It's me, Lin Yi said. Ah. Qiqi quickly lowered her voice when she heard Lin Yi's voice. Lil Nine, Yi bro's here. Let's talk later. I'll go open the door. Yeah. Lil Nine was a little dejected. She wanted to let Qiqi give the phone to Lin Yi, but thinking about it, what could she say if she gave the phone to Lin Yi? These years, her relationship with Lin Yi had become very distant, and it was just the kind of conversation between teammates. She didn't know what to say when she actually picked up the phone. Qiqi opened the door and blushed when she saw Lin Yi. Hey bro, you're here. Yeah, I just came out to Tuo Xiaowang's room, so I stopped by. Lin Yi said, my name is Lin Yi now. Yi and Eagle are just code names. You can call me by my current name. I'm not really used to what you sure. Qiqi liked Lin Yi as a person, not the name Ai. It didn't matter what Lin Yi was called. He was still that childhood friend in her heart. But Lin Yi bro, your room's over there, and Tuo's on the other side. It's not like you're going in the same direction. Lin Yi didn't know what. Lin Qiqi felt a bit embarrassed. Lin Xiaowang. Xiaowang Yi's face. Lin Yi didn't mean it, but it made Qiqi's heart skip a beat. A flash of shyness appeared on her cool face. Is that so? Xiao Qi's so happy. Yeah, there's something even happier. The Earth Essence is coming, and there's 2 bottles. The Yellow Earth Sect promised to send them over as soon as possible. Lin Yi said. Really? Qiqi was very excited. Lin Yi bro, you healed that Tuo Xiaowang? They're so easygoing, Lil Jiu can finally be saved. Not yet. He's just alive, but his meridians are still broken. Lin Yi shook his head. But they're already very happy. That's all. Qiqi was a bit surprised. Wasn't the Yellow Earth Sect a little too easy to deal with? She just didn't know how important Tuo Xiaowang was to them. Yeah, you should tell the 9th princess about this later. Let her be happy. Lin Yi came here to cheer Qiqi and Lil Jiu up. Lin Yi bro, why don't you call her yourself? You have her contact anyway. Qiqi said. You know that I'm in contact with her. Lin Yi was a bit surprised. His contact with Lil Jiu was one way. This was the rule of the assassin organization. Logically speaking, Qiqi shouldn't know, but you're an assassin from the assassin group, right? As long as it's an assassin on a mission, they're all connected to Lil Jiu. It's just that a lot of people don't know each other, but Lin Yi bro definitely knows who Lil Jiu is. I forgot about that. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile bitterly. Then, You won't blame me for not going back and contacting you, will you? Of course not. Father said that an assassin shouldn't contact his teammates with his original identity after a mission. If something happens to one person, it'll affect the others. That's why Lil Chi hasn't made up her mind to look for Lily Bro. Chi-Chi shook her head. Who would have thought that fate would allow Lil Chi to meet Lil Ebro again? But now it seems that you're no longer an assassin, Lin Ebro. You've stepped into the world of practitioners? Yeah, assassins are only limited to the common world. In fact, if it weren't for some people and things, I might never have had anything to do with the world of practitioners in this lifetime. But the people and things around me force me to go against the flow and to step into a higher plane. I don't cause trouble for them, but they cause trouble for me and the people around me. Lenny said, just like this time, if it weren't for my name in the world of practitioners, no matter how much help Tian-chan gave us, there'd be no way the Yellow Earth sect would have handed over 2 bottles of the essence so willingly. That's true. I didn't think that Lenny Bro would be this strong, no matter what you do. You've made a name for yourself in the world of practitioners. Lil Chi will follow Lin Ebro from now on. Chi-Chi was even happier that Lin E had become stronger than her. Lin E knew Chi-Chi's personality very well. She looked cold and cool on the outside, but she was actually a girl who looked strong on the outside, but was actually very fragile on the inside. She wasn't suited to be an assassin, and it was due to her parents that she started training as an assassin at a young age. Her path wasn't because she liked it. At first, Chi-Chi was a bit against it, but after getting to know him, Lin E could feel that Chi-Chi was training for him, and now she was fighting for Lil Nine. In the Ice Palace trial, in the practitioner's market, Chi-Chi had cried, showing the fragile side of her heart. Under this cool facade, Chi-Chi's strength came from a stubborn belief. Chapter 2893. This was a feeling that Lin E understood very well. Lin E had been through this before, after all. Those backgrounds in the common world, on the other hand, were quite useful in the common world. For example, at House Kang's birthday banquet, dealing with normal houses that weren't even considered noble houses. But at the noble house level, those backgrounds were useless. This was also why Lin E had always been envious of people with good mentors. Even people like Kong Ming Ming and Zhang Naipeo, who weren't important at all, had sky-class strength. How the hell did a hard-working practitioner like Lin E feel? But what could he do? He was tall, rich, and handsome, with a good master. Pills were like candy to him, and Lin E, on the other hand, had to go through a lot of hardships just to get one, and he was almost trapped under the cliffs of Wushuang Mountains during the test. It was a feeling of helplessness. But Lin E, on the other hand, had overcome all of this with much difficulty, finally standing at the peak of existence. Of course, all of this was thanks to the Jade Space and that damn thing, or else Lin E would have died a long time ago. As for Chi-Chi, Lin E patted her shoulder. Xiao Chi, you can tell others that you're my sister from now onwards. Normally, no one would go out of their way to cause trouble for you. In this test, Lin E could see that he was in a very delicate position. No one dared to mess with him, or rather, no one wanted to mess with him because the consequences would be too severe. This was why Lin E and Zhang Naipeo were able to coexist peacefully, especially after the incident with Zhang Naipeo got out. Lin Yi's name was like thunder in the ears of the ancient practitioners. Sure, haha, Ebro used to protect me, and now he's protecting me again. Can I do whatever I want in the ancient level? Chi-Chi asked happily. You can bully the people who bullied you again. For example, tomorrow morning, you can occupy a few tables and stop them from eating, Lin E said. Okay. Lin E suggested casually, but Chi-Chi seemed to be paying attention. When Lin E got back to his room, Chi-Chi happily called Gio. The people from the Yellow Earth sect came quickly. It was unknown if Tu Ching Song had specially arranged it. In short, this disciple of the Yellow Earth sect arrived at the Heavenly Elixir sect in the early hours of the next day. It seemed that the power of the Yellow Earth sect was not weak. The private plane could take off at any time. Good timing. When Tu Ba Wong saw that the disciples of the Yellow Earth High sect had arrived, he was instantly overjoyed. He understood the principle of striking while the iron was hot, but if he didn't have anything in his hands, why would he strike the iron? He needed to be strong, didn't he? And so, after Tu Ba Wong got the essence, he came to the inn's restaurant early, ready to have a chance encounter with Lin Yi. He'd then talk to Lin Yi about the essence, and after the meal, he'd go to Lin Yi's room or his own room to talk about it. When it came to the point of worship, he'd just kneel down and call him boss, and everything would be fine. Of course, Tu Ba Wong's idea was good, but he noticed something strange when he came to the restaurant. All the practitioners who came here to eat were walking out of the restaurant with their lunchboxes and not eating in the restaurant. This made Tu Ba Wong very confused. Normally speaking, practitioners here didn't have the habit of eating in their rooms. There were no full-time waiters here, and the trash from eating in their rooms had to be taken care of by themselves. Everyone thought it was troublesome, and they could leave after eating in the restaurant. What was going on today? Why was everyone taking takeout? He was about to ask someone when he raised his head to see Zhang Naipeo walking out of the restaurant with a depressed look on his face. In his hands was a takeout as well. At the same time, Naipeo saw Tu Ba Wong as well. He froze. He knew how heavily injured Tu Ba was. How did this guy get better? How could he walk? Wasn't he unconscious? But as confused as Naipeo was, he didn't plan on asking anymore. He only looked at Tu Ba Wong once before leaving in a hurry. Naipeo's weird actions made Tu Ba Wong a little puzzled. Why was Naipeo acting like he didn't see him at all? He was the one who hit him, but he was here, perfectly fine. Couldn't he ask a few questions? In fact, Tu Ba Wong did want Naipeo to ask a few more questions. After all, if Naipeo wanted to cause trouble for him, Lin Yi would probably step in and interfere. He'd just been healed by Lin Yi, so how could he let Naipeo do whatever he wanted? This had to do with the face of a practitioner. He shook his head. If Naipeo didn't cause trouble, he wouldn't provoke him. Lin Yi wasn't an idiot, either. Him provoking Naipeo and getting hurt again were two different situations. Tua Xiaowang hadn't even stood still when he heard an arrogant girl's voice. All the tables in this restaurant belong to me now. You're not allowed to eat here. Lin Yi bro and I are going to enjoy our time together. You guys buy food and go eat outside. The voice belonged to Yang Chi-Chi, of course. She bought some food and wanted to find a place to sit down when these practitioners chased her away with a cold glare. This time, Yang Chi-Chi was giving them a taste of their own medicine. Anyone who wanted to eat here was kicked out. Of course, some of them were innocent bystanders. Chi-Chi didn't go to their table when she came, or they had already finished eating and left, not meeting Chi-Chi at all. But they didn't dare say anything. Yang Chi-Chi and the others didn't know where they came from, but Lin Yi and the others did. This Lin Yi was the one who swept through the Sky Elixir sex test, and even Naipeo wasn't his match. Didn't they see Naipeo leave after buying breakfast? Who else could be a match for Lin Yi? Thinking that it was better to avoid trouble, they all left after buying breakfast. Tu Ba Wong, on the other hand, couldn't help but smile bitterly at Yang Chi-Chi's domineering. This person was obviously very close to Lin Yi, and Tu Ba Wong couldn't afford to piss him off. But he didn't want to leave just like that. At the same time, his admiration for Lin Yi went up another level. Seeing was believing, and he'd heard about how strong Lin Yi was from Tu Jinxing. All he saw was Lin Yi's medical skills, but he didn't know much about Lin Yi's strength. Chapter 2894. At that thought, Tua Xiaolong was excited. So strong. What kind of ancient sect could be this strong? That didn't even say anything, just a little girl. And these people wouldn't dare eat here. Tua Xiaolong's imagination was running wild. If it were him instead of Chi-Chi, it'd be so much more fun and pretentious. He stood at the entrance of the restaurant and spoke to the participants, especially Naipeo. All the tables in this restaurant belong to me now. You're not allowed to eat here. I have some things to discuss with Boss Lin Yi, so you guys buy your food and go eat outside. Wah! He was excited just thinking about it. Tua had always been someone who liked to show off, and he didn't have many bad intentions. He just liked the feeling of being looked up to and having Lin E as his boss could sweep away all the frustrations he'd faced before. Oi, all the tables in this restaurant belong to me now. You're not allowed to eat here. HM? Chi-Chi was just about to shoo Tuo Xiaolong away when she saw that it was Tuo Xiaolong. She changed the topic immediately. You're Tuo Xiaolong? Yeah, sis. I'm actually Boss Lin Yi's friend as well. I'm his patient. So, do you think I can eat here? Tuo Xiaolong asked carefully, his face thick. You? Chi-Chi turned to Lin Yi. He was the one who gave Little Nine the essence, but whether or not he could sit here was up to Lin Yi. Chi-Chi didn't dare make the decision herself. Oh, Tuo Xiaolong, you're recovering pretty fast? You're here to give me the essence, aren't you? Lin Yi estimated the time. If Huang Tu had been a bit faster, it should be about time. Yeah, Boss Lin Yi is amazing. You know what I'm here for? Tuo Xiaolong said as he ran over to Lin Yi and sat down. Outside the restaurant, the cultivators who had not left all had strange expressions on their faces. Firstly, they were surprised that Earth Overlord had woken up. Secondly, he actually said that he was Lin Yi's patient. Could it be that Lin Yi had cured him? How is this possible? Wasn't Earth Tyrant's injuries so severe that even a third-grade Great Cyclic Pill had no effect on it? How could it be better? Of course, even though these people were puzzled, they didn't dare to ask. Why are you calling me boss? You're also not my little brother. Lin Yi glanced at local overlord and said indifferently. Lin Yi's expression didn't show anything special, but he had some doubts in his heart. The local tyrant actually wanted to recognize him as his boss so soon. What prompted him to make such a quick decision? He had only healed the injuries on his body and did not repair his meridians. Moreover, this was only a transaction. He had healed him, and he had also paid the Earth Essence. It was extremely fair. Moreover, even if there was Tian Chan's mediation, it was impossible for an ancient sex young master to make a decision so easily. Feng Shipian and Li Siba, on the other hand, had recognized him as their boss after witnessing his strength under special circumstances. Tuo Ta, on the other hand, was different. He didn't understand why he'd come to him. Was it just to repair his meridians? However, Lin Yi knew that he was a very good judge of character. Lin Yi didn't see any utilitarian intentions in Earth Tyrant's eyes. On the contrary, he seemed to admire him very much. What was he admiring? Moreover, he had Earth Diamond Star by his side. If he casually recognized him as his boss, wouldn't Earth Diamond Star report to their sect master? Boss, I can't express my gratitude in words. Boss Lin, he healed my injuries and brought me back to life. It was like I was reborn. So, Boss Lin E is like a second parent to me. However, if I call Boss Lin E Godfather, you definitely won't recognize me as your son. So I'll settle for the next best thing and call you boss. Earth Tyrant said, what do you think? Of course, this is just a title. In my heart, you're my boss. It doesn't matter if you recognize me as your little brother or not. You're my idol, and I'm your fan. Pfft. Cough, cough. Lanny didn't expect Earth Tyrant to come up with such a fallacious argument. Godfather? He really dared to call him that. However, Lanny could also see that this kid was sincere when he said these words. Therefore, even if Lin he was puzzled, his expression still softened. He nodded and said non-committally, "Where's the Earth Essence?" I was so focused on talking that I forgot about the important matter. The Earth Essence is here. As he said this, Earth Tyrant carefully took out 2 very small bottles from his pocket and placed them in front of Lin E. Such a small bottle. Lin E looked at the pocket-sized bottles in front of him, a little speechless. Ugh, this small bottle is actually just enough for one use. Earth Tyrant explained awkwardly. The Earth Overlord explained somewhat awkwardly. There's not a lot of this thing. The Earth Attribute Essence liquid is stored in a special way. Once the bottle is opened, it has to be used immediately. It will lose its effect after 3 days. Hence, it would be a waste to store more. So that's how it is. Linny nodded and thought that this was similar to the spring water that old Lin and Air Gooden drank at home. Once the spring water was taken out, it would lose its effect after a period of time. Yes. Earth Tyrant nodded and asked, "Boss Lin E, what do you want to do with this Earth Essence?" The way to use this earth essence is a secret of our yellow earth high sect. Only my uncle, the current leader, and I know about it. Even Earth Diamond, Star doesn't know about it. Of course, Boss Lin isn't an outsider, so it doesn't matter if you know about it. Lin heard Earth Tyrant's words and thought it was funny. This guy was trying to get information out of him so that he would accept him as a follower. Of course, Lin accepting Earth Tyrant wasn't a problem. Right now, Lin basically didn't care about the Hidden House's power anymore. The next step would be the ancient powers. An additional follower would be an additional helper, so naturally, Lin was happy to do so. However, this boss Earth Tyrant was suspicious. Lin had to figure out this person's purpose and character first. I have a friend who has too much Earth element in his body, and he can't control or guide it. He needs the Earth essence and parts of an Earth spirit beast to treat him. Lin didn't hide anything. After all, he had to explain this clearly to Earth Tyrant so that he could take the right medicine. Chapter 2895. This situation stunned June. His eyes widened as he looked at Lin in disbelief. Boss Lin, are you serious? Why would I lie to you about something like this? Why else would I ask you for the essence? Lin frowned. He didn't know what kind of expression Tyrant had on his face. Was it that surprising? No, Boss Lin, don't misunderstand. What I mean is, I thought that you had an Earth element friend who went crazy during training and needed the essence of the Earth element to mediate, but now it seems that's not the case. The situation you're talking about is very likely the Earth element inheritor that our yellow Earth high sect has been looking for. The situation you described is exactly the same as the Earth element inheritor. Tu Xiaowang quickly explained. Earth element inheritor? Although old Lin had mentioned this before, he wasn't very sure. Now that Tu Xiaowang had mentioned it, it was basically certain that Little Nine was the so-called Earth inheritor. At the thought, Lin couldn't help but be wary. One had to know that the moment Xiao Xiao became the inheritor, Lin wasn't very willing. Miss Rock Candy said that the inheritor had to do something dangerous. Xiao Xiao going to the Ice Palace and becoming an inheritor was something Lin didn't want, but Little Nine was something Lin couldn't just let go of so easily. And so, Lin said calmly, I just want to know how to use this essence. As for the inheritor or not, I don't care. My friend won't be an inheritor. That's... Tu Jun realized that he was being a bit too emotional. This was Lin, not anyone else. There was no way he could control the will of the person in front of him. So Tu Ba could only smile bitterly. Boss Lin, it's like this. If that person's condition is as you say, using the essence of the Earth element as a catalyst, along with the parts of the Earth element sky, class spirit beast can provide the greatest amount of relief, but there's a flaw in doing so. The Earth element in your friend's body will disappear, and his body will become extremely weak. Even if you can extend his life, he won't be able to live for long. He'll die within 10 or 20 years. What you're saying, is that true? Lin was a bit surprised. Tu Tyrant's words were very similar to what Miss Crystal Candy said back in the Ice Palace. Lin wanted to give Xiao Xiao the fire spirit's fruit, but Miss Crystal Candy stopped him, and now Tu Tyrant was saying the same thing. Of course, I wouldn't lie to my respected boss Lin Tu Jun. He sighed, I won't hide it from boss Lin but I came from the West to Central Plains not only to participate in the Sky Elixir sex test, but also to find an Earth element inheritor to bring back to our Yellow Earth sect. Tu Tyrant had another reason for coming here, and that was to find his cousin, Tu Ran. However, his uncle, Tu Ching Song, had specifically told him that the matter back then was a little complicated, and that he had to be careful with his words. He couldn't mention it to anyone else, so he didn't even mention it to Lin. Lin nodded. With the experience from last time in the Ice Palace, Lin didn't think that Tu Ba was lying to him. Little Nine's situation might really be as he said. He was an Earth element inheritor and had to accept the inheritance. Other than accepting the inheritance, is there no other way to solve the problem? Lin didn't want to give up. Like what kind of arts? It might be possible if they trained from a young age, but from the looks of it, Even if they're younger than you, Senior Lin E, they wouldn't be much younger, right? In terms of time, it's too late, at least not for us Earth element cultivators. Tu Xiaowang shook his head and said with certainty, I won't hide it from you, boss. If there was a solution, then the direct descendants of our Yellow Earth High School wouldn't be so few in number. Now, only my uncle and I are left. This is also why my uncle easily agreed to use the Earth essence in exchange for my life, because everyone in my family is left. Oh, Linny was a bit shocked. Tu Jun, his family were all dead? Of course, Lin didn't doubt that Tu Jun. He only needed to ask Gu Xian to know if it was true. Don't be surprised, Boss Lin. Our family's bloodline is actually the same as the bloodline you're talking about. There's a large amount of Earth elements in our bodies, and we have to train in the Yellow Earth High Sex arts for young age. Before 20, we have to step into Sky class, or we'll face death. At that point, we need to use the essence of the Earth element and the body parts of an Earth element Sky class spirit beast to alleviate the effects, but the effects vary from person to person. At most, it's 10 to 20 years of life. Tu Junwang said, but a Sky class before 20 years of age. A sect can only raise 1 or 2 at a time, even if they do their best. After all, there's a limit to how many pills we can accumulate. It's just like how the everyday sect focuses on Zhang Nai Peo, while our Yellow Earth High sect focuses on me. But can't you guys become inheritors? Then why don't you accept the inheritance? Lin, he asked curiously. The inheritors are all female. Male cultivators are unable to accept and comprehend the inheritance and cannot become inheritors. Our Yellow Earth High Sex bloodline is very special. Our descendants are all male. If we want to give birth to a daughter, we have to use a very complicated method. We have to spend a lot of energy and treasures in order to produce a female descendant. This is specially done to cultivate cultivators, said Earth Overlord. Then, why don't you guys get a female descendant to accept the inheritance? Lin, he asked curiously. Yes, my uncle has a daughter, and she's also my cousin. This is something to be happy about, but Tu Jun, he suddenly realized that he'd said too much. In front of Lin he didn't have his guard up and accidentally spilled the beans. What's wrong? Lin saw that Tu Jun. He was confused. I'm sorry, Boss Lin. This is a family secret. I accidentally said too much. Tu Xiaowang said a little embarrassedly. Anyway, you just need to know that we tried, but we didn't succeed. Chapter 2896. That's not it. The success I mentioned before meant that there were other problems. Your friend will definitely be fine. By the way, is your friend a woman? Tu Xiaowang suddenly realized that he had overlooked the most important question, which was the gender of Lin Yi's friend. Was it a man or a woman? She's a woman. Lin Yi nodded. That is to say, after my friend goes there, she will definitely be able to receive the inheritance? That's right. Tu Xiaowang nodded. This is more effective than the Earth Essence Liquid and the things on the Heaven Stage Earth Spirit Beasts, and there is no danger. Then, is there any requirement for becoming an inheritor? For example, do you need to do one thing? Linny nodded and continued to ask. Boss Lin, you also know about that plan? Tu Xiaowang was a little surprised and lowered his voice. In his opinion, it was impossible for Lin Yi to have access to the core secrets of that level. Even if Lin Yi was the boss of several direct descendants of the ancient sects, those sects were not one of the main participants of that plan. The Holy Fist Palace was not one of them, and neither was the ancient Feng family. They only knew about the future Heaven Stage Island plan, but they definitely did not know what these inheritors were used for, nor did they know what these inheritors would do. Yes, my concubine is called Feng Xiao Xiao, the deputy palace master of Ice Palace, and also one of the inheritors. Lin Yi nodded. So it is not surprising that she knows about this. What? Boss Lin Yi's concubine? Tu Xiaowang was stunned. He did not believe that Lin Yi's wife was the deputy palace master of Ice Palace, let alone a concubine. After all, Ice Palace was one of the most powerful sects among the ancient sections. The Heavenly Elixir sect once wanted to harm it, but they did not dare to do so. the deputy palace master of such a sect that even the everyday sect did not dare to cause trouble, was actually Lin Yi's concubine. But thinking about it, it was normal. The everyday sect also did not dare to do anything to Lin Yi. Didn't the young master of the heavenly elixir sect, the heavenly silkworm transformation, also say that he had no confidence in dealing with Lin Yi? Furthermore, Tu Overlord felt that there was no need for Lin Yi to lie to him. After a moment of shock, he said in admiration, "Boss is indeed the boss. You're not on the same level as us young sect masters. You're already on the same level as the sect masters and palace masters of the various ancient sections." Lin Yi ignored Tu Ba Wang's flattery and asked, "First, tell me, are the earth element legatees going to do dangerous things in the future?" "This, boss, don't you know? It's the same as what an ice-type inheritor has to do." Tu Ba looked at Lin Yi strangely. How could he not know? "Do you think she would tell me if there was any danger and make me worry?" Lin Yi asked. That's true." Tu Ba didn't know about the things Lin Yi had done before. He thought that Xiao Xiao became the vice palace master and became an inheritor, and then met Lin Yi and became Lin Yi's wife. That made sense. Xiao Xiao didn't want Lin Yi to worry, so naturally, she wouldn't tell him the details. She didn't want Lin Yi to worry, but Tu Ba was still a little confused. Why didn't she hide the fact that she's an inheritor? Wouldn't that make you less curious, boss? Inheritors can't lose their chastity. Do you think you should tell me? Lin Yi was trying to confuse right and wrong. Naturally, Tu Ba wouldn't be able to see through it. I forgot about that. Haha, I see. Tu Ba understood. Xiao Xiao was Lin Yi's wife, but she didn't want Lin Yi to push her down. She had to explain the reason, and so Tu Ba nodded, but still tried to probe. "It's like this. Boss Lin, you should know about that place, right? 5 Elements School?" Lin Yi asked. "That's right, 5 Elements School." Earth Tyrant no longer had any doubts, and directly said, "This plan has been prepared for 1,000 years. The goal is to let a peak late-stage, heaven-stage, great perfection cultivator set foot on the heavenly Tao. The plan is actually very simple: metal, wood, water, fire, earth, mist, and ice inheritors, along with a 5-element practitioner as a medium to open up Sky Class Island. In truth, that's all I know. There will definitely be dangers during the process of opening, but compared to the rewards, these dangers are nothing. These inheritors and mediums all have the chance to go to Heaven Rank Island and become elites in the Tao of Heaven. Which of us cultivators doesn't want to step into that realm?" "I see, but what about the specific process?" Lin Yi continued to ask. This wasn't too different from what Lin Yi knew. The mediums were obviously Tagan Long and Tian Chan, but these 2 mediums couldn't be used anymore. What was 5 Element School going to do? "I don't know the specifics. That place isn't public, and we can't just ask. Although, as one of the leading sects, they only get a spot to step into Sky Class Island. In fact, 5 Element School is the most important part." Tu Ba said. "What you said is about the same as what I know. It's all unimportant stuff. I don't know what the specific dangers are." Lin Yi shrugged. "Only a few people in 5 Element School know about this. We can't do anything about it." Tu Ba said helplessly. "If I could find out, I would have done it already." "Well, in that case, I'll think about it and give you an answer. I'm not in a hurry to know how to use this earth essence. You go back to your room and wait for a while." Lin Yi said to Tu Ba. "Okay, Boss Lin Yi, I'll go back first. I'll also go back and ask my uncle to see if he knows more." Tu Ba said respectfully. "You haven't eaten breakfast yet?" Tua Xiaowang had been talking to Lin Yi after he came in. He even forgot to eat breakfast, so Lin Yi reminded him. Tua Xiaowang, Tua Xiaowang. It's fine if I don't eat, but if boss wants me to eat, I'll eat a little," Tu Ba said and waved to Tu Jinxing, who was standing at the entrance of the dining hall. "Hurry up and buy breakfast. Boss has rewarded me with breakfast with him." Lin Yi was a bit speechless. This Tuang was quite a talent after all, but now it seemed that other than the fact that he liked to show off a little, he didn't have any other flaws. Showing off wasn't a flaw, either, since it was normal to show off when one had the strength. Chapter 2897. But she couldn't ask in the dining room with Tuatha there. Now that they were in the room, she quickly asked, Linny bro, what did Tuatha say about the inheritor? Lil Nine, she's an inheritor? Inheritor, I don't know much about it. Do you want to ask Xiao Xiao about it? Lin Yi saw the light in Chi-Chi's eyes and understood what she was thinking. No, I'm just a little curious. Big bro Lin Yi's mistress. Is it that girl Linny bro was carrying that time in Ice Palace? How did she become the vice leader of Ice Palace? Chi-Chi was a little embarrassed that Lin Yi had hit the nail on the head. Haha, I'll tell you then. Linny nodded and told Chi-Chi about how he met Xiao Xiao, as well as the problem with her body and how she went to the Ice Palace. You know what happened after that? I went to the Ice Palace to ask for the medicine, but when I met the sect leader, Crystal Candy, something unexpected happened. Lin Yi told Chi-Chi about what happened in the Ice Palace, and she couldn't help but be amazed. She didn't think that Xiao Xiao would have this sort of coincidence, becoming the vice leader and inheritor of Ice Palace. But this was a good thing and a bad thing at the same time. The good thing was that Xiao Xiao was saved, but the bad thing was that Xiao Xiao had to stay here and do things that she couldn't do. Chi-Chi could feel the helplessness in Lin Yi's voice. Back then, Lin Yi wasn't as strong as he was now. He didn't have the ease to deal with ancient sections. Of course, even now, Lin Yi wasn't much in the eyes of the Ice Palace. First, the Ice Palace was stronger than the Yellow Earth High sect. Second, the Ice Palace didn't need anything from Lin Yi. Saving Xiao Xiao and letting her accept the legacy was an exchange. Lin Yi making Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill for Xiao Xiao didn't really matter to the Ice Palace. Even if he didn't, Xiao Xiao would still be the inheritor and Bingtang would still get a share of the pie in Sky Class Islands plan. Hence, this was also the reason why Rock Candy didn't put Lin Yi in her eyes. And so, Lin Yi had no choice but to let Xiao Xiao stay in the Ice Palace. There was no other way. Big bro Lin, Xiao Qi believed that you can successfully make the Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill and give it to the Ice Palace to get Xiao Xiao sis back. Chi-Chi encouraged as she looked at Lin Yi. She had always been very confident in Lin Yi. Haha, I'll work hard. I'm prepared to get an Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill for this Sky Elixir test, but I don't know if the Sky Elixir sect will set any obstacles. Lin Yi's relationship with the Sky Elixir sect wasn't very good right now, especially with Kong Mingming there. That guy was the 8th elder, after all. If he said a few bad things about him in front of the head and young master of the Sky Elixir sect, the impression the Sky Elixir sect had of him would plummet. Plus, with his relationship with the 5 Elemental School, would the Sky Elixir sect really make him an Ice Heart Jade Bone Pill? Lin Yi didn't think that it was possible, but he had to try. Let's not talk about that for now. Let's talk about Xiao Jiao. Xiao Jiao's situation is similar to Xiao Xiao's, but there's a difference. Xiao Xiao only needs to practice the Ice Palace's arts, and she can avoid death, but Xiao Jiao is different. Xiao Jiao must accept the inheritance to be able to live forever. Lin Yi said worriedly, but it's very dangerous for Xiao Jiao to do that. This is a difficult problem. No matter what, we should ask for Xiao Jiao's opinion first. All right then, I'll call her, Chi-Chi said after some thought. Yes, you talked to her. Lin Yi nodded. The first thing Tu Jinxing and Tu Jinxing did after returning to their room was to call the sect. This was a call from Tu Jinxing himself. Uncle, I'm Tu Jinxing. This was the first call Tu Jinxing made after recovering. It was too late last night, so Tu Jinxing didn't call right away. Tu Jinxing, you've recovered? That fast? Tu Song thought that even if Lin Yi agreed to heal him, it wouldn't be something that could be healed in a short amount of time. It would take at least a few days or even a month. He didn't think that he would be healed on the second day. Actually, I was healed last night, but it can't be considered a full recovery. My meridians haven't recovered yet. Tu Jinxing shook his head. It was too late last night, so I didn't call you, Uncle. That fast. Tu Song's expression changed. It seemed that his decision back then was right. How could the young people related to those two not be strong? Healing Tu Jinxing's injuries this quickly wouldn't take too long for his meridians to recover. With that thought, Tu Song quickly asked, Tu Jinxing, did she tell you what I meant? Uncle, you're talking about building a good relationship with Boss Lin Yi? Tu Jinxing paused. He was just about to report this to his uncle, but he didn't think that his uncle would be even more anxious than him. That's right. Yeah, you've already recognized him as boss. Tu Song paid attention to the way Tu Zhenxing addressed Lin. Not really. In the morning, I went to the restaurant to find him. This was what happened. Tu Zhenxing told Tu Song about how he shamelessly called Lin boss in the restaurant. However, Boss Lin didn't deny it. He didn't strongly reject it. That's good. Tu Song was relieved. Tu Zhenxing, you did a good job. This trip to the Central Plains wasn't in vain. Although you didn't participate in the Heavenly Elixir Sex trial, your harvest has far exceeded the trial. If you have a good relationship with Lin, it may bring great benefits to our Yellow Earth sect in the future. Yes, I know. Tu Zhenxing nodded. Uncle, have you heard of Lin? Tu Zhenxing knew Tu Song's personality very well. He recognized Lin as his boss only because of his admiration for Lin. He couldn't beat Zhang Nai Peo, but Lin could, and had even healed his injuries. These were all reasons why Tu Zhenxing respected Lin. But these reasons weren't enough to move Tu Song, to make him approve of the relationship between Tu Zhenxing and Lin. But now, Tu Song was uncharacteristically approving, and Tu Zhenxing was confused. Don't ask about these things. It's not good for you to know too early. It might not be a good thing for you to interact with him with a fearful heart. Tu Song shook his head. Chapter 2898. In short, you don't have to ask. Just continue as before. Tu Song didn't explain further. What happened back then had shocked the entire ancient sect. Although it had been a long time, many ancient sects avoided talking about it. Okay. Tu Overlord didn't ask any more questions after hearing his uncle's words. Instead, he changed the topic. Uncle, there's something important I have to report to you. Oh, what else? Tu Song asked. The earth essence fluid that Boss Lin asked for was not for an earth cultivator to use when they went berserk, but for an earth inheritor. Tu Overlord said and told Tu Song about what he had discussed with Lin. Earth element inheritor? Tu Song's pupils shrank, and his breathing quickened. Tu Overlord didn't know what it meant for Lin to have an Earth Inheritor by his side, but Tu Song immediately thought of what happened back then. That Earth Inheritor was very likely his daughter, Tu Ran, who had been taken away by those two people. And Lin was one of the two, Lin Dongfang's grandson. That explained why his daughter was with Lin and they were friends. That explained everything. Back then, Tu Ran was born in a special way. Because the bloodline of the Yellow Earth High Sect wouldn't give birth to a daughter, they had to use a special method. However, although Tu Ran was born smoothly, she was weak and sickly from a young age. However, the Yellow Earth High Sect's mantra was targeted at male cultivators. Female inheritors would only start cultivating after receiving the inheritance. Therefore, in order to cultivate, Tu Ran had to reach the minimum age to receive the inheritance. Then, after receiving the inheritance, she had to break through to the heaven stage before the age of 20 to be safe. As long as she successfully received the inheritance, there would be no barrier to breaking through. Breaking through to the heaven stage wouldn't be too difficult, but the key was that Tu Ran couldn't hold on any longer. She couldn't wait until the age to receive the inheritance. Tu Song and his father, Tu Wanghai, sought medical help everywhere for this matter, but to no avail. Just as they were about to lose hope, a traveling merchant who traveled between the Central Plains, the Western regions, and the Miao territory brought good news to the Lus Highness sect. In the Miao region, there was a divine doctor named Lin Dongfang. His medical skills were unfathomable, and he was worth a try. Tu Wanghai was overjoyed and immediately brought Tu Ran along with the traveling merchants towards the Miao region. However, this divine Dr. Lin Dongfang did not have a fixed residence, and the traveling merchants did not know where he lived, so they could only try their luck at the market. Lin Dongfang had to go to the market for a period of time to treat patients from other villages. Hence, Tu Wanghai really met him. Lin Dongfang was a doctor in the market. Naturally, he would receive all kinds of patients. Although he could tell that Tu Wanghai was abnormal, he still followed the rules and checked on Tu Ranran's condition. However, after checking it out, Lin Dongfang let out a puzzled Seeing Lin Dongfang's expression, Tu Wanghai immediately asked, "Doctor, can my granddaughter be saved? Her body is abnormally weak, and there's no sign of life. I can't tell the specific problem, but it won't be a problem for her to follow me and live until she's 15. Lin Dongfang pondered for a moment and said, "Follow you?" Tu Wanghai was slightly stunned, but he understood Lin Dongfang's meaning. "Doctor, you mean that my granddaughter must live by your side before you can treat her?" "That's right. Her body isn't something that can be recuperated overnight. Her problem is very serious. I need to prescribe the right medicine. The medicine that I prescribe for each period of time is different. I need to tailor the medicine according to the condition of her body." Lin Dongfang nodded his head and said, "Then, doctor, can you come live in our house? Don't worry, I will pay multiple times the consultation fees. All you have to do is to treat my granddaughter full-time. I will also compensate you for your other medical expenses. I will pay for your consultation fees every day. What do you think?" Tu Wanghai immediately said, "I can't go." Lin Dongfang said faintly, "If you want to be treated, stay here. If you don't want to be treated, you can leave. Do you know who you're talking to?" Before Tu Wanghai could answer, one of his followers got anxious and wanted to kick Lin Dongfang's medicine stall over. They came from an ancient sect. No matter where they went, they were all high and mighty. Lin Dongfang was just a small Jianghu doctor, yet he dared to be so arrogant. This follower was naturally unhappy. "Tu Qingshui, back off." Tu Wanghai naturally knew that he couldn't offend Lin Dongfang at this moment. His follower was a little too hot-tempered. However, it was too late for him to stop. That follower was also a heaven-rank middle-stage expert. Even if he didn't use any martial technique, the speed of his kick was faster than Tu Wanghai's words. Just as he was about to kick Lin Dongfang's medicine stall away, his leg was easily caught by a hand. Going out to walk a dog is naturally good, but sometimes a mad dog will spoil things. Lin Dongfang looked at Tu Wanghai and said faintly, "I will throw this dog away for you." After saying that, Lin Dongfang lightly raised his hand and Tu Qingshui flew out, landing heavily in the rubbish pile far away. Tu Wanghai was a little shocked. He looked at Lin Dongfang in front of him in shock. Just now, he had made a mistake. The person in front of him was actually an expert. Moreover, it was very likely that he was a very high-level physical expert. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to throw Tu Qingshui out so easily. Even if Tu Qingshui didn't use any martial technique, he wouldn't be thrown out so easily. "Doctor, I'm sorry. My follower was a little anxious. Please forgive him." Tu Wanghai quickly apologized. "You are right. When I go back, I will still punish him." Tu Qingshui, who had fallen into the rubbish pile, had already regained his senses. Only then did he realize that he was wrong. Yes, it was very likely that he was also an expert. He didn't use any martial technique, and the other party didn't use any martial technique either. However, when he was caught by the other party, he immediately used his true chi to struggle free. However, the other party still didn't use his true chi and threw him out. Then, there were only two possibilities in this situation. The other party was a very high-level internal expert, higher than his level. Or the other party was a very high-level physical expert. He didn't need to use the surrounding heaven and earth spiritual energy. Just by relying on the tyrannical strength of his body, he could ignore his true chi and throw him out. "Please give me a suggestion. Let's go back. It's going to rain today." The fortune teller called Mr. Mo said, without even trying to predict the future. Is it going to rain today? That's great. That's great. I'll go back and wait for you." The farmer said with endless gratitude. "You're welcome." This Mr. Mo was naturally Lin Dongfang's good friend of many years, Mo Kongwan. What a joke. Tu Wanghai was vexed and did not know what to do. When he heard such a huge scam, he immediately found a way to vent. It's going to rain today. How can it rain on such a sunny day? Do you think you're a weather forecaster? Rain on a sunny day? Drenching a tortoise? Old farmer, you've been scammed. Idiot, drenching a tortoise. I'll be drenching you in a while. The farmer looked at Tu Wanghai with disdain. He curled his lips and turned to leave. You don't know what's good for you. Tu Wanghai was infuriated. However, as an ancient-era cultivator, why would he bother with an old farmer? He could only shake his head gloomily. You don't know what's good for you. Tu Wanghai was infuriated. However, as an ancient-era cultivator, why would he bother with an old farmer? He could only shake his head gloomily. He was dissatisfied with this fortune-teller who took advantage of the situation and felt that it was a pity for the old farmer's stupidity. However, at this moment, there was a sudden boom in the clear sky. A sudden clap of thunder was heard, followed by a flash of lightning. Following that, a heavy downpour poured down from the sky, directly drenching Tu Wanghai's heart. However, at this moment, Tu Wanghai did not feel that he was unlucky to be drenched by the rain. Deep in his heart, he was deeply shocked. He turned his head and looked at the calm one in disbelief. He suddenly came to a realization. Sir, I'm sorry. I was rude just now. You're not as old as me. You don't have to flaunt your seniority in front of me. Kongwen said faintly. As for whether I was rude or not, there's no way to talk about it. You're not my customer. You can say whatever you want. Tu Wanghai was a heaven-ranked cultivator. He did not think that Kongwen was faking it previously. This heavy downpour came without any warning. Even he did not notice it. It seemed like Kongwen really had some skills. Therefore, Tu Wanghai immediately became extremely respectful. Senior, in your opinion, I should now. Kongwen stretched out his hand and gestured with his finger. Tu Qing Shui, come out. Tu Wanghai turned his head and looked in the direction of the rubbish pile. Don't play dead. I'll punish you when we get back. Yes. Sect Master. Tu Qing Shui hurriedly climbed out of the rubbish pile and walked over carefully. There were still 2 broken vegetable leaves on his head, and it was raining. He looked like a drowned rat, and he was as pathetic as one could imagine. Give me the checkbook. Tu Wanghai said. Yes. Tu Qing Shui quickly took out the checkbook from his backpack and passed it to Tu Wanghai. Tu Wanghai did not say anything else. He immediately signed a 1 million check and passed it to Kongwen. Senior, you see, if you hand your granddaughter over to old Lin for treatment, I can guarantee that not only will your granddaughter not die before she turns 3, she won't die before she turns 15. Kongwen accepted the check and said casually, moreover, she will live to 100 years old and bring good fortune to your entire sect. Chapter 2900. If it wasn't for the sunny days and the rainy days previously, Tu Wanghai would definitely scoff at Kongwen's words. But now he didn't think so. Instead, he asked, Senior, can you be more specific? Specific. This. Kongwen said, half a sentence and stopped. Senior, here's 1 million. Tu Wanghai immediately signed another check and handed it to Kongwen. The money was nothing to him. As long as Kongwen's words were really useful, it was worth it. All right, to tell you the truth, your granddaughter will find a good man in the future. Then, your granddaughter's life will become smooth sailing, and then everything will go smoothly, said Kongwen. Oh, Tu Wanghai listened to Kongwen's words thoughtfully. Although it was a little simple, the matter was very clear. Finally, Tu Wanghai nodded and said, Doctor, my granddaughter can stay with you. But how can I find her in the future? If you want to find me, you can come to the market to look for her. If you can't find her for now, I will send her to a place that is more suitable for her treatment. 5 years later, when her condition stabilizes, I can bring you to see her, but you can't take her away. Otherwise, she will still die, Lin Dongfang said faintly. This? All right. Tu Wanghai gritted his teeth and replied, Doctor, can she live until the age of 16? As long as she can live until the age of 16, I can pay any price. 16 years old was the minimum age requirement for the Yellow Earth high sex inheritance. Only at the age of 16 could a girl comprehend the inheritance. Hence, this was also the reason why Tu Wanghai required her to be 16 years old. No matter what, I will try my best, but I can't guarantee anything now. Lin Dongfang shook his head. All right, doctor, do your best. Tu Wanghai could only do so. After all, this was the best solution at the moment. After settling Tu Ranran down and paying the medical fees, Tu Wanghai brought Tu Qingshui back to the Yellow Earth High Sect. This trip made Tu Wanghai sigh with emotion. He had never expected that there would be two masters in that remote place. In the blink of an eye, 2 years had passed. Tu Wanghai missed his granddaughter, Tu Ranran, and wanted to set off for Miaojiang again. But at this time, two ruthless people suddenly appeared in the pugilistic world. These two people appeared without any warning. They just appeared out of thin air and swept through all the ancient sects in the Central Plains. They instantly killed a few Heaven Stage elites and gained the title of Vajra's Dual Fiends. Everyone in the Jianghu had their expressions change when they talked about them. These two people, under the banner of helping the perfect perfection heaven rank late phase experts break through the heavenly Tao, gathered all the perfect perfection heaven rank late phase experts from the ancient sects of the Central Plains together. Of course, there were also many experts who were unconvinced. Why should they listen to his orders? However, the first stop of their journey was the Everyday and Everyday sect. Of these two people, one was fine after taking a blow from a peak late-stage perfect perfection master, while the other casually waved his fist and killed the Everyday and Everyday sect's patriarch, Mad Dragon Patriarch, who was at peak late-stage perfect perfection heaven rank. That Mad Dragon Patriarch was the primordial spirit of the Mad Dragon Patriarch who had possessed Zhong Pingliang. Back then, he died tragically under the fists of these two ruthless people and became the first victim to be killed as a warning to others. Then, they went to the Holy Fist Palace and many other ancient sections. The perfect perfection heaven rank late phase experts who followed them were fine. They promised to help them set foot on the heavenly Tao, but after they set foot on the heavenly Tao, they had to do something for them. Those who did not follow them went to the road to hell. Later, those perfect perfection heaven rank late phase experts of the ancient sects, after waiting for the arrival of these two people, all welcomed them with smiles and offered to follow them. Legend had it that these two people were elites in the Tao of heaven, and their words were naturally trustworthy. Some of the followers were willing, and some were forced to follow them. No matter what, they obediently followed these two people and left. Then they were never heard from again. This matter was very strange. After they left, there was no news of them in Jianghu. Back then, Tu Qingsong's father, Tu Wanghai, took the initiative to invite these two people to the Yellow Earth High Sect. Firstly, Tu Wanghai was worried about Tu Ranran's situation. Secondly, he had been stuck at the peak late-stage perfect perfection heaven rank for too long. If he did not advance to the heavenly Tao, he was afraid that he would die of old age. Tu Wanghai did not know if he could survive until the day when the Heavenly Island plan was launched, so he took the initiative to invite the two ruthless people, the twin killers of King Kong, to the Yellow Earth High Sect. The Yellow Earth High Sect was located in the West region. The two ruthless people were in a hurry and did not intend to come, but since they were invited by Tu Wanghai, they still came. The two people that other sects avoided like the plague were treated with incomparable passion by Tu Wanghai. There was no other reason, because one of the twin killers of King Kong was the miracle doctor who treated Tu Ranran, Lin Dongfang. The reason why Tu Wanghai knew was that although he did not see the twin killers of King Kong with his own eyes, their portraits had spread to all the ancient sects, and Tu Wanghai naturally got one of them. When Tu Wanghai saw the familiar face of Lin Dongfang in the picture, he was immediately stunned. What? That miracle doctor from Miaojiang was actually a heavenly Tao master? No wonder he was able to cure Tu Ranran and throw Tu Qingshui away with a casual toss of his hand. As for Tu Qingshui, When he saw the portrait, cold sweat flowed down his back. He was extremely shocked. That year, he actually scolded a Heavenly Tao master and was not beaten to death. What a joyous occasion. This was simply a great stroke of luck. Lin Dongfang smiled faintly when he saw Tu Wanghai again. The person beside him was Yang Qiqi's father, Lin Yi's master. He did not speak much and only nodded at Tu Wanghai. Tu Wanghai did not dare to neglect these two legendary Heavenly Tao masters. He personally welcomed them from 1,000 miles away from the sect. When he saw Lin Dongfang and Mr. Yang, he immediately cupped his fist and walked up to them respectfully. Yellow Earth High Sect's master, Tu Wanghai, greets the two seniors. No need to be so polite. We are not strangers anymore. Lin Dongfang waved his hand and said, "Did you ask us to come here because of your granddaughter, or?" Chapter 2901. This is Yang Ming, my sworn brother, Lin Dongfang introduced. He had some relationship with Tu Wanghai. Naturally, Lin Dongfang wouldn't put on a domineering attitude like he did with the other ancient sections. This senior Yang Ming was naturally Yang Qiqi's father, Lin Yi's master. However, Lin Yi would never have dreamed that his master and his old man were such powerful figures in the past. However, after this incident, Yang Ming left, and Lin Dongfang once again lived in seclusion in the mountains. These ancient sects that suffered losses were all scared out of their wits. They kept their mouths shut about this incident, and no one would take the initiative to ask about it. As for Lin Dongfang, due to some reason, he also kept his mouth shut about the incident in the past. As time passed, this incident was gradually buried. Tu Wanghai greets Senior Yang. Tu Wanghai said solemnly. Yang Ming waved his hand indifferently and said, "Since you are Big Brother Lin's old friend, then you don't have to be so polite. Tell us why you're looking for us." Yes. Tu Wanghai didn't dare to play any tricks. He only spoke the truth. I invited the two of you here. Firstly, it's because of my own matters. I have been stuck at Heaven-class late-phase peak great perfection for too long. If I don't advance to Heaven's path soon, I'm afraid I will die of old age. Both of you are Heaven's path experts, and you are currently recruiting Heaven-class late-phase peak great perfection experts to advance to Heaven's path. So, I would like to recommend myself. Oh, most of the other sects avoid us. You, on the other hand, took the initiative to look for us? Yang Ming looked at Tu Wanghai with interest and asked, "Aren't you afraid that I will lie to you?" Others would naturally think so, but I have seen Senior Lin Dongfang before. I know that you won't lie to me. Tu Wanghai said firmly. We won't lie to you. But, let me say the ugly words first. We help you advance to Heaven's path, so you have to follow us to do something. Yang Ming smiled and said, "Are you willing?" "Of course. Senior helped me advance to the Heavenly Tao, so it's reasonable for me to help Senior. There's nothing to shirk." Tu Wanghai nodded and said, "It's my duty." "Good, then you can pack up and leave with us," Lin Dongfang said with satisfaction. "All right. Secondly, I want to ask how is my granddaughter's illness?" Tu Wanghai asked. "Your granddaughter, I've taken her in as my goddaughter. Right now, under the care of Big Brother Lin's medicine, her body is still very good. However, I didn't tell her about her background. I don't want her to feel any pressure." Yang Ming said, "This time, if you go with us, you can see her. You can just look at her from a distance. Don't say anything to her." "I understand." Tu Wanghai hurriedly agreed. He also knew that allowing Tu Ranran to be carefree and without any psychological pressure would be beneficial to her growth. Otherwise, if she was troubled all day long, even Lin Dongfang wouldn't be able to help her even if he was a divine doctor. Well, if that's the case, then let's go. Things are more urgent. If you guys advance to Heaven's way together, we can rush to support earlier and return earlier. Yang Ming said, "No problem. Seniors, I'll go pack up and leave with you." Although Tu Wanghai didn't know what they were going to support, he didn't ask much. Since it was decided, then let's go. Who cared what it was? At this time, Tu Qingsong was already the young sect master of the Yellow Earth High Sect. Every day, he followed Tu Wanghai and learned how to deal with some sect affairs. Therefore, He was very familiar with what happened in the past. After Tu Wanghai left, Tu Qingsong inherited the position of sect master. However, what he didn't expect was that his father and the two seniors left for more than 10 years without any news. All these years, Tu Wanghai also inquired about other ancient sections. He asked if there was any news of their sect master, great elder, or supreme elder who left. However, no one had any news. These people just disappeared into thin air. Then, in everyone's opinion, these people were probably no longer in this world. What happened in the past was probably a scam. The two Heaven's Way Masters took away and killed those peak late-stage, Heaven Stage, great perfection experts, of course. There were all kinds of theories. Some said that the Heaven's Way Masters were another level of strength. These people cultivated in another place. That place was Heaven Stage Island. The spiritual energy of heaven and earth there was incomparable. After these people advanced to Heaven's Way, they were restricted by Heaven's Way and couldn't leave Heaven Stage Island at will. Anyway, everyone had different opinions. Everyone was just guessing, even if what those people said was true, that the Heaven's Way Masters couldn't leave Heaven Stage Island at will. Tu Qingsong also wanted to know the whereabouts of Tu Ranran. However, when he went to Miaojiang with Tu Qingshui again to look for Lin Dongfang, he found that the market was long gone. There was a landslide there, and the original market was now full of rocks. Miaojiang was huge. How could Tu Qingsong have time to search slowly? Moreover, even if he searched, he might not be able to find her. Wasn't it said that Tu Ranran was sent to Senior Yangming? Therefore, Tu Qingsong could only return to the western region with Tu Qingshui. Now, Tu Qingsong suddenly got the news of the descendants of those two people. He was excited, but he didn't dare to immediately ask Lin Yi about the whereabouts of the two seniors. He could only let Tu Overlord and Lin Yi get familiar with each other first, and then find a chance to ask in the future. However, the only thing worth rejoicing was that Tu Ranran should be with Lin Yi. The earth essence that Lin Yi and Huang Tu asked for should also be for Tu Ranran. Uncle, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you talking? After Tu Overlord said Earth Inheritor, although Tu Qingsong's excitement seemed reasonable to him, he shouldn't be so excited that he didn't speak for a long time, right? Therefore, the local tyrant finally couldn't wait any longer and opened his mouth to ask. Nothing, I'm just too happy. Tu Qingsong felt that there were some things that he shouldn't tell Tua Tua about. After all, Tua Tua was young and arrogant, and his temper wasn't stable. If he told the truth, it would only make Tua Tua more afraid, or make him work harder to please Lin Yi. That wouldn't be good. Chapter 29:02. That's right. Although I didn't manage to find any news of my sister during my trip to the Central Plains this time, I unexpectedly found another Earth-type inheritor. It's really a case of planted flowers don't bloom. Tu Overlord nodded and said, by the way, isn't it only the bloodline of our yellow Earth High sect that can inherit and comprehend the Earth-type power? Why are there other Earth-type inheritors other than our family? Oh, our yellow Earth High sect has been passed down for 1,000 years. There should be some collateral branches. Tu Qingsong said casually. Collateral branches? There are? It was Tu Overlord's first time hearing that the Yellow Earth High sect had collateral branches, so he was a little surprised. Of course. How about this? Can you look for Mr. Lin Yi and ask for the Earth-type inheritor's photo and name for me to take a look? Tu Qingsong asked. What do you want a name and photo for? Tu Overlord was taken aback. He didn't understand what Tu Qingsong meant. What did the name and photo have to do with whether Lin Yi's friend was an Earth-type inheritor or not? Oh, didn't I say it? She might be from a collateral branch of our yellow Earth High sect. Tu Qingsong said. Is that so? Yeah. Uncle, do you think it's possible that she's my long-lost cousin? Tu Overlord made an even bolder deduction after hearing Tu Qingsong's words. Tu Qingsong was shocked. He didn't expect Tu Overlord to directly link it to Tu Ranran from a collateral branch. However, it was normal for Tu Overlord to have his suspicions back then. It was just that Tu Overlord had less evidence than him. Under the guidance of a collateral branch, Tu Overlord also made such a deduction. Uncle, although my deduction might shock you, it's not impossible. When Tu Ching Song heard Tu Ching Song's he thought that he was shocked by his deduction. It's indeed possible. Tu Ching Song smiled bitterly. He originally wanted to hide it for the time being, but who knew that Tu Overlord would guess it himself? If that's the case, then Boss Lin, he might have become my brother-in-law. Tu Xiaowang's thoughts kept jumping. In his opinion, since Lin, he was seeking medicine for Tu Ran, then his relationship with Tu Ran must be extraordinary. Perhaps they were confidants. Tyrant, what are you thinking? Tu Ching Song didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Besides, didn't you say that there's a girl by Mr. Lin Yi's side? You're talking about Yang Chi-Chi? Mr. Lin Yi's so strong. There's no way he only has one woman, right? And from what I see, Yang Chi-Chi calls Linny boss brother. Maybe they're siblings. As for Chi-Chi, Tu He Jimin didn't think much of it. People at his level didn't have the concept of monogamy at all. She was an ancient sect, after all, and they still followed the rules of the olden days. Yang Chi-Chi. Tu Ching Song froze at the name. You're saying that girl's called Yang Chi-Chi? Yeah, what's wrong, uncle? Tu Xiaowang felt like his uncle was acting a little weird today. Yang Chi-Chi's surname was Yang, and the other Heaven's Path elite was called Yang Ming. Could they be related? The more Tu Xiaowang thought about it, the more plausible it seemed. Otherwise, why would Chi-Chi be with Lin Yi? But he couldn't tell Tu Xiaowang too much about this. It's nothing. It's a good name. Good name? Tu Xiaowang was a little surprised. Were number names popular now? But it didn't seem as domineering as his own name. Yes, it's a good name. Tu Ching Song said seriously. All right, I'll try my best to ask. Tu Xiaowang was a little surprised at his uncle's sudden change in taste, but it wasn't his place to ask. In Yang Chi-Chi's room, Chi-Chi relayed what Tu Xiaowang said to Jiao, who was a little shocked on the other side. He went silent after Chi-Chi was done. I'm sorry, Jiao, but I'm afraid this is the best solution. I couldn't find a better way to help you. Chi-Chi could understand how Jiao was feeling right now. After all, Jiao was going to the Yellow Earth High Sect to accept their legacy, and there was something he had to do that could bring danger to Jiao. Don't say that, Chi-Jia. You and Bro have been running around for me all this time, and I can't thank you enough. Jiao said, it's just that I don't want to be separated from you. The Yellow Earth High Sect is in the western region. It'll be hard for us to meet again. Plus, what about the hacker mission? I'll let it go. There's no one here to take over. We'll have to let Mrs. Zhou take over for now. Chi-Chi said, I want to ask you, Jiao, what are your real thoughts? You and Bro have both embarked on the path of cultivation. I don't want to fall behind either, Jiao said weakly after a moment of silence. Chi-Chi paused, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. So, deep in Jiao's heart, he didn't want to pull too far away from her and Lin Yi. Lin Yi was already standing at a very high position in the world of cultivation, and she would also work hard. But Jiao couldn't, and the gap between the three would only become more and more obvious in the future. It was reasonable for Jiao to have this thought. Okay, then I'll tell Lin Yi Bro what you mean. Chi-Chi confirmed Jiao's meaning and nodded. Okay, Jiao nodded. Hanging up, Chi-Chi went to Lin Yi's room to find Lin Yi. Chi-Chi, you and Jiao are done? Lin Yi opened the door and was a bit surprised to see Chi-Chi. He didn't think that there would be a result so soon. Lin Yi thought that Chi-Chi and Jiao would talk until midnight. Yeah, Jiao said that she's willing to become a practitioner and accept the inheritance. She doesn't want to be too far away from us. Chi-Chi said, okay, if that's the case, I'll go find Tuoba now. Lin Yi didn't say much, and he didn't need to. He understood Jiao's thoughts. Just like the miss back then, she also wanted to train and didn't want to be too far away from him. Thinking of the miss, Lin Yi couldn't help but sigh softly. He'd been out for a while now, and he didn't know if she was doing well. Chapter 2903. She was the one he was supposed to take care of the most when he returned to the city, because that was his mission. However, he often neglected her. After leaving the room, Lin Yi went straight to Tu Xiaowang's room and knocked. Diamond Star, right? The door isn't locked. Come in. Tu Xiaowang had just ended his call with Tu Song, thinking that it was Earth Diamond Star. It's me. Lin Yi pushed the door open and said, it's Boss Lin Yi. Tu Xiaowang jumped off the bed and ran to the door to greet Lin Yi. What are you in such a rush for? Lin Yi frowned. After this period of interaction, he could tell that Tuata wasn't a scheming person, but he was a hothead when it came to handling things. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten hurt by Nai Peo. But then again, which of these disciples of the ancient sects wasn't prideful? They were the elites of their sects, and when they went out, they naturally didn't like each other. It was normal for them to have conflicts. Boss Lin Yi, why are you looking for me? Tu Xiaowang didn't mind at all. This was his personality, and he didn't care what Lin Yi said about him. Let me ask you, that friend of mine, after receiving the inheritance, does she have to do that annoying mission to open the island? Lin Yi asked straightforwardly. Since Little Nine didn't have any objections, Lin Yi naturally wanted to fight for more benefits for her. Doesn't she want to ascend to Sky Dao? Tu Xiaowang asked suspiciously. As far as he was concerned, nothing was more important than a practitioner being able to step into Sky Dao. Wasn't this the pursuit of all practitioners? It was the same for Tu Overlord and the people around him. It was the same for his grandfather in the past. Therefore, Tu Overlord felt that it was natural for cultivators to pursue the heavenly way. It had been like this since ancient times. Although what inheritors did was a little dangerous, it was equivalent to obtaining a ticket to the Heaven Stage Island after success. After all, it hadn't been long since the Heavenly Island opened the sealed passage, and the number of cultivators that could enter was limited. Not just anyone could enter as they wished. These quotas were determined through the Heavenly Island Conference, and it wasn't an exaggeration to say that they fought to the death for it. Everyone has their own ambitions. I'm just asking. Lin Yi asked without any change in his expression. Most importantly, he didn't want the people around him to have too much relationship with the Five Elements sect and the Heavenly Elixir sect. Actually, once your friend successfully comprehends the legacy, that place will definitely sense it. If she accepts the legacy and doesn't participate in the plan, not only will our Lust Earth sect be blamed and attacked by that place, they won't let your friend off either. They'll definitely send people to capture her and bring her back. Tu Overlord said, this is also the reason why I said that after your friend accepts the legacy, she must carry out that plan. Boss Lin Yi, I don't deny that you're very powerful, but the people from that place are unexpectedly powerful. Their unique skills are all real ancient divine skills, and some even have immemorial divine skills. We can't match them. Lin Yi nodded. He had naturally experienced the strength of the people from the Five Elements sect. Taganlong, the weakest among them, was already very powerful. Tianchan, Little 11, and Little 1 were all super powerhouses, not to mention Ancestor Xianchen, who had always been hiding behind the scenes. I fought with the people from the Five Elements sect a few times, so I know how powerful they are, Lin Yi said in agreement. What? Tu Overlord was shocked after hearing Lin Yi's words. Boss, you fought with the people from the Five Elements sect? A few times? Then you didn't die? Of course. I don't mean to look down on you, nor do I mean to curse you to death. I mean, there's no need to explain. I understand. Lin Yi smiled faintly. Every time it's extremely dangerous, and I almost died. Their medium was crippled by me. They've always wanted to kill me, but they're currently in a delicate state of balance. They're a little afraid. Fuck, boss is really boss. Too powerful. Tu Overlord said in surprise. Even the Five Elements sect doesn't dare to act rashly. It's not that they don't dare, they're just a little afraid. Lin Yi was not arrogant to this extent. He just said, but it's only a delicate balance. Once my friend inherits the legacy, I'm afraid it'll be like what you said. The Five Elements sect won't let her go easily. Yes, so instead of being captured by the Five Elements sect after she leaves, it's better to stay in our Yellow Earth sect. We can protect her safety during this period of time. Tu Overlord nodded. In that case, I'll think about it. Lin E did not immediately agree. Although Little Nine had already agreed, but Lin E still had a responsible attitude towards Little Nine. He had to carefully weigh the pros and cons for her. Boss Lin E, there's something I want to ask. Seeing that Lin E did not agree, Two Overlord's heart tightened, and he could not help but ask. Oh, what's the matter? Just say it. Lin E waved his hand. I don't like to be wishy-washy. If there's something, just say it. Okay, how old is your friend this year? Can you tell me her name? Tu Xiaowang asked carefully. Oh, why do you ask this? Lin E was slightly stunned. According to my uncle, only our Yellow Earth sect has the bloodline of the Yellow Earth sect. So far, no one else has it. So, your friend may be my long-lost sister. Tu Overlord naturally did not dare to deceive Lin E, so he directly told the truth. Cough, cough. Lin E suddenly coughed after hearing it. How did Little Nine suddenly become Tu Overlord's sister? Boss, don't laugh. I'm telling the truth. Really. Tu Overlord saw Lin Yi's expression and suddenly laughed dryly. I really have a sister. She has been separated from me for many years. Are you saying that my friend might be your sister? Lin Yi saw that Tu Overlord did not seem to be joking. He immediately frowned. Little Nine was indeed an orphan. She was his master's adopted daughter. In that case, it was really possible. Yes, so I'm just asking your friend's name and age. Tu Overlord nodded. Chapter 2904. 17. As expected, a flash of surprise and joy appeared on Tua Xiaowang's face. The age is about the same, but the name, it doesn't matter. What's important is that she's an orphan. Yes, your sister is 17 as well? Lin E paused. Yeah, 17. Boss, do you have a picture of her? Tua Xiaowang asked. Yes. Lin E took out his phone and logged into the photo gallery. He found a picture and downloaded it to his phone, handing it to Tua Xiaowang. That's her me and Yang Chi-Chi. The one in the wheelchair is Lil Jiao, but I don't think a picture is very useful. You weren't that old back then. You probably wouldn't have known her, ugh. That's true. Tua Xiaowang realized that he'd wasted his time looking at the picture. He had no impression of his sister at all. This picture might be useful if he sent it to his uncle, Tu Qingsong. He shook his head. Can you send it to me? I'll send it to my uncle. Not at the moment. Lin E declined. I'm not sure if there's a relationship between you and Lil Jiao yet. I can show it to you, but I can't send it to you. After all, the picture was related to the assassin organization's secrets, and Lil Jiao's image was confidential. Lin E wouldn't give it to anyone before he was sure, not even Tua Xiaowang. I see. Tua Xiaowang was a little disappointed, but he remembered something and quickly asked, right? Does that Lil Jiao have a pendant on her? A pendant made out of mud? And the word Earth is written on it? Tua Xiaowang had come to the Central Plains to look for his sister, and this was what he was relying on. That necklace was an item from the Yellow Earth sect, and it was his sister's identification item. She'd been wearing it since she was young. Oh, Lin, he was a little surprised, but he was also a little confused. I do have a pendant made out of mud, but it has the word 9 on it. Not Earth. 9 foot? That shouldn't be. Tua Xiaowang was taken aback as well, his eyes wide with confusion. All these things match. Is something wrong? 9? Earth? Lin, he suddenly thought of something and slammed the table, which shocked Tu Jun. However, Lin E ignored him and asked directly, how do you write the word to? It's just a normal 2 word. Tu Ba Wang was a little baffled. He didn't know why Lin E asked this. I think I got it. The Earth character you guys carved on the pendant is a linked character, and the 2 horizontal lines are joined together to form the shape of the Z. Since it's a messy handwriting, it looks like a 9. Between us, we're using numbers to arrange each other's names. I'm 1, Chi-Chi's 7, and when it came to Little 9, our first impressions, we thought that the character on her pendant was a coincidence, but it wasn't a 9, but an Earth character. Lin E said, that's right. Tu Xiaowang also smacked his forehead and came to a realization. He then said excitedly, Boss, from now on, you're my brother-in-law. Puffed. Ahem. Lin, he started coughing loudly. This Tu Ba Wang's thoughts were quite imaginative. He didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Lil Jio and I are just siblings. At least for now. Lin wanted to say that it had nothing to do with Lil Jio, but unknowingly, Lil Jio's bitter tone rang in his ears, and Lin, he could only add, at least for now. But this addition made Tu Ba Wang's eyes light up. Haha, that's for sure. Brother-in-law, boss. You won't reject this brother-in-law as your follower now, will you? Lin, he was speechless. What kind of relationship was this? But he knew that if he didn't agree, Tu Ba Wang might say something weird again. So he just nodded. Ha! That's great, my follower has finally become official. It seems that nepotism is really cool. Tu Ba Wang said proudly. I can send Lil Jio's photo to you, but you have to promise not to spread it. Lin was basically sure that Lil Jio was Tu Ba Wang's long-lost sister, so he agreed to give him the photo. It was just that Lin, he felt that things were a bit strange. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? Boss, you can rest assured that I definitely won't spread it. Moreover, she is my sister. How can I hurt her? Tu Ba Wang promised. This matter is too sudden. I have to go back and communicate with Lil Jio first. As for whether she is willing to acknowledge you, I can't do anything about it. I will definitely not force her. So, if she is not willing, I hope you guys won't force it. Lin, he reminded Tu Ba Wang. Don't worry, boss. We'll do it step by step. We won't force it. Tu Ba Wang quickly replied. Lin left Tu Ba Wang's place and went to Yang Chi-Chi in shock. He told Chi-Chi about what he had told Tu Ba Wang. What happened today was simply too shocking. Chi-Chi listened to Lin Yi's story, and her face was very interesting. She didn't think that Lil Jio was Tu Ba Wang's sister. This was a bit too much. Then, do we become relatives with Tu Ba Wang? Chi-Chi was a bit troubled. She didn't really like Tu Ba Wang's personality. There's nothing we can do about it. Tu Ba Wang may be a bit arrogant, but he's not an idiot. He doesn't act like he is in front of us. Let him be. Lin Yi smiled bitterly. This time, no matter what, I have to fix his meridians. Of course, this is just a small thing. The problem is, can Lil Jio accept this reality? I'll talk to Lil Jio about it. It's her family, after all. I don't know why they got separated back then, but it's good to be able to find her family. Chi-Chi said. Yeah, Lin Yi agreed. Lin Yi didn't really care about his parentage, and he didn't seem to care too much about the fact that he didn't have parents, but deep in Lin Yi's heart, he still wanted to see his parents. It was a kind of faith. Chapter 2905. And from the looks of it, they were very important friends, too. Otherwise, Tu Ching Song didn't think that Lin, Yi, and Chi-Chi would be running around for something like this. Tu Xiaowang, you've done well. I didn't think that you'd mature quite a bit after not participating in the test. Tu Ching Song said with praise. Uncle, Tu Xiaowang smiled bitterly. How could one grow without setbacks? He'd been crippled by Zhang Nai Peo, and that was how he'd learned that there was always someone better than him. Email me the photo. Actually, it doesn't matter if you look at it or not. We can be sure now that Lil Jio is Ran Ran. You just need to think of a way to get Mr. Lin to send her back to our Yellow Earth sect. Tu Ching Song said, feeling a little emotional at this point. Could it be that the fortune teller his father met back then was true? Tu Ran Ran's fate had changed because of her man? Wasn't this person talking about Lin? Tu Ching Song could tell from Tu Xiaowang's words that the relationship between Lin, Yi, and Little Jio wasn't normal. So he came to this conclusion. It seemed that his father's decision back then was a wise one. That 2 million was well spent, and not only was Tu Ran Ran fine, the Yellow Earth sect had a powerful helper. Other people didn't know about Lin Yi's background, but Tu Ching Song knew it all too well. It seemed that Lin Yi's position in the world wasn't looking too good, and if the Yellow Earth sect were to become Lin Yi's subordinate sect, that would be giving Lin Yi a helping hand. This relationship was different from the icing on the cake in the future. Whoever followed Lin Yi first and got Lin Yi's approval would have the advantage, and when Lin Yi grew up, the Yellow Earth sect would rise as well. Yes, uncle. I'll send it to you in a bit. Tu Xiaowang replied. You'll be in charge of this, and make an appointment with Mr. Lin Yi. See when he'll come to our sect. Tu Ching Song said. Little Jio suddenly went silent after learning about her parentage. After so many years, she had already treated Yang Ming's home as her own. Although Yang Ming was her godfather, he was more or less like her father. He treated her and Chi-Chi the same, without any bias. And so, little Nine found it hard to feel a sense of belonging in a foreign house. Her long-lost family was there, her brother, her father. But in little Nine's heart, Lin Yi, Yang Chi-Chi, and Chi-Chi's parents were the people closest to her. She had lived here since she was young. As for the Yellow Earth sect in the western region, this was the first time she had heard of it. She was still a little conflicted about the unknown. Lil Nine, what's wrong? Chi-Chi couldn't help but ask after hearing the silence. Big Sister 7, I don't think this is real. I have a family? Lil Nine's voice was somewhat low. There was not the slightest bit of excitement from finding his family. There was only sadness from not knowing how to face it. Lil Nine, are you not happy? In the Yellow Earth sect, not only is your body's problem solved, but you can also see your family. Chi-Chi didn't understand Little Nine's feelings right now. She didn't know why she was so down. Big Sister 7, it's impossible for me to say that I haven't thought about my family. When I was young, I did think about what my birth parents and family were like, but as time went on, I've long since treated you, bro, godfather, and godmother as the closest people to me. Little Nine said quietly. Suddenly, I have a family. I feel like I don't know what to do. Big Sister 7, let me calm down for a bit, okay? I'll think about it. I'll contact you. Okay. Chi-Chi nodded. Lil Nine, calm down for a bit. After hanging up, Chi-Chi didn't go straight to Lin Yi. Instead, she called Mrs. Zhou. Mrs. Zhou was the other wife of Chi-Chi's father and an expert hacker. She was Little Nine's teacher. She was probably the best person to talk to Little Nine. But no matter what Little Nine decided, the Sky Elixir sex test was finally over. The prize ceremony was set for tomorrow morning at the Sky Elixir Inn Square. It was called a prize ceremony, but it was just a symbolic certificate and a record of each participant's requirements. If the pills were in stock, naturally, they could just take it, but if they weren't, they'd have to make a reservation. In fact, it could even be described as pitifully few. Altogether, more than 40 practitioners of Earth rank and above had participated in this trial. Calculating according to the Spirit Beast's daily killing rate of 2 Earth rank and above experts, excluding the few days when the Dragon of 5 Demons had issued the task and the 5 days after the 15th day. The Spirit Beast had lost about 30 Earth rank and above experts in the 10 days in between. However, the number of cultivators who passed the trial this time was the highest among all the previous batches. Therefore, even though so many people had died, no one would suspect anything. Feng Shipin's reward was a great recovery pill, and so did Gu Xian, Qikuan, and Li Siba. They all got one. Feng Shirpan exchanged for the great recover pellet for Feng Nitian, and Gu Xian was a lone practitioner. With the great recover pellet, he could defend himself. Li Siba was a physical practitioner. Other pellets wouldn't be of much use. Only the great recover pellet could heal. As for Qikuan, he didn't even know why he got a great recovery pill. Elder Bai was dead, and the great recovery pill didn't have much use for Hao Xiao right now. But the Sky Elixir sect didn't have many finished pills, and he only had one with him. According to the rules, he wasn't allowed to ask for future pills. Of course, this depended on the Sky Elixir sect's mood. If they agreed, then it was fine, but Qikuan didn't want any trouble. After all, what Zhang Naipeo wanted was a bone-cleansing pill. The Sky Elixir sect didn't have any on hand, but for the sake of the everyday and everyday sect, Silkworm's sect agreed to let Zhao Ming make one for Naipeo. When it was Lin Yi's turn, Lin Yi said to Kong Ming Ming directly, "Great recovery pill." Chapter 2906. What the Heavenly Silkworm Transformation Master was thinking was, what did Lin Yi want the recover pill for? At the bottom of the cliff, Lin Yi didn't take away the 2 recover pills she had. What did he want it for? Moreover, Lin Yi had that kind of magical healing ability. What did he want a recover pill for? Could it be because Lin cured Tu Overlord and was afraid of being suspected, so he covered it up? At present, this was the only guess she had. The news of Tu Overlord's recovery had already spread throughout the Heavenly Elixir sect, and even the Five Elements sect. Although Ancestor Xianshan was very puzzled as to how Tu Overlord had recovered, and seeing that he was very close to Lin Yi, he also suspected that Lin Yi had played some role in it. However, Ancestor Xianshan never thought that Lin Yi could use true qi to heal others. After all, using true qi to heal others only existed between people of the same sect and the same mental cultivation method. Moreover, the healer had to spend a lot of physical strength and true qi to heal others. Unless they had a very good relationship, who would make such a sacrifice? Moreover, Lin Yi and Tu Overlord weren't from the same sect, nor did they cultivate the same mental cultivation method. They didn't even know each other at all, and their relationship wasn't good either. Why would Lin Yi heal him? Moreover, it seemed that Lin Yi was very good now. It didn't seem like he had used a lot of physical strength and true qi at all. Therefore, even if Ancestor Xianshan was suspicious, he couldn't think of any clues. It was even more impossible for Lin Yi to give Tu Overlord a 4th grade recover pill. This matter could only be inquired about slowly and see if he could find out from Tu Overlord. There was no other way, because if he asked Lin Yi would definitely not tell the truth. However, Lin Yi didn't have such thoughts about Tianchan at all. Lin Yi didn't ask to refine the Ice Heart Jade Heart pill because there was a grudge between him and Kong Ming. Even if he brought the materials, the Heavenly Elixir School might not refine it for him. At that time, he could just tell him that he didn't refine it and that he had failed and that there was nothing he could do. Therefore, Lin Yi might as well take a Dahuan pill that the Heavenly Elixir sect had in stock. Although it seemed that the Dahuan pill was temporarily useless to him, it was not. To Lin Yi, this was also a good thing. When Lin Yi used the True Qi Bomb, the whole body of the physical strength of the True Qi was shot out and accidentally injured his meridians. In this case, Lin Yi was unable to repair the meridians in his body, but as long as there was a great Restore Dan, which could repair a few meridians, then he could repair the other meridians. In this situation, without Skybolt Pig and General Wei Wu, it was very useful. Lin Yi, don't you want to reconsider? You didn't want this Dahuan pill before. Didn't you tell me that you wanted the Ice Heart Jade Heart pill? Kong Ming frowned and asked unwillingly. Oh, didn't I need 2 spiritual herbs to refine a pill for you? Lin Yi said indifferently. I only have 1 spiritual herb. I just need a ready-made pill. Actually, seeing that we are old friends, I can make an exception. Moreover, this is what the Heavenly Elixir sect promised you before. Kong Ming quickly said, Forget it. I'll give you the ingredients, and if you ruin it for me, I won't have anyone to talk to about it. Lin Yi shook his head. I don't believe you. The smile on Kong Ming's face froze, and he laughed awkwardly. How is that possible? I'm not the only one in charge of the Heavenly Elixir sect. I just think that it's a pity that you don't have this chance. If you think it's a pity, then give me another Ice Heart pill. Lin Yi said. Forget it then. Kong Ming pouted and turned to ask the other participants. The Dahuan pills were all available, and so after Lin Yi and the others got the pills, they started their journey back. Lin Yi didn't give a clear answer to Tua Junwang, and Tua Junwang wasn't in a rush. He planned to walk around in the Central Plains. Now that everyone knew that Tua Junwang was Lin Yi's follower, no one dared to mess with him. Zhang Naipeo had suffered a setback in the test, and he had been feeling a little down lately. He didn't have the mood to mess with Tua Junwang anymore, and he was very wary of Lin Yi. Lil Chi, I'm going back. Are you going back to the private island? Lin Yi asked. The private island, also known as X Island. It was where Lin Yi trained when he was young, and now the base of the world's biggest assassin organization. Of course, this biggest was limited to the common world. The Yellow Spring sect of the practitioner world couldn't compare. Yeah, I'll go back and discuss it with Lil Jio, and then I'll contact you, Lin Yi bro Chi nodded. Lil Jio's problem's settled, so don't go running around. There's too much danger in the practitioner world. It's not for you. Lin Yi didn't want Chi-Chi to risk her life in the practitioner world. Lin Yi could help her now, but he couldn't guarantee that he'd help her every time. Okay, Chi-Chi nodded. I'll call you if I come back to the training world. Good. Lin Yi nodded and said goodbye to Chi-Chi before walking to Feng, Shipian, Gu Xian, and Li Siba, who were waiting for him. Boss, we're going back, Feng Shipian said, a little saddened. They'd only known each other for a short time, but their friendship had been established. He didn't know if his father and grandfather would blame him if they found out about this, but he didn't know if they'd go back to the ancient house Feng. After all, a disciple of an ancient sect taking a freelancer as his boss. This was quite shocking. Lin Yi was strong, but there was no guarantee that his family wouldn't object to it. After all, Lin Yi was Nitian's enemy. Although the news hadn't spread yet, Nitian would definitely wake up after taking the recover pill. At that time, it would be clear who hurt him, so Feng Shipian had a headache. Li Siba was more relaxed. Although he was a core disciple of the Holy Fist Palace, Lin Yi was the one who avenged his fellow disciples. He couldn't avenge his fellow disciples, so he recognized Lin Yi as his boss. Lin Yi taught Zhang Naipeo a lesson, and the Holy Fist Palace certainly couldn't say anything. If someone dared to stand up and blame Li Siba, it meant that he didn't want to avenge his fellow disciples. Who would be such a villain? And Gu Xian, a freelancer, didn't care about what others thought. She just said goodbye to Lin Yi. Boss, I'll go to Donghai City to find you later. Chapter 2907. On the way back, it was still Lin Yi and Chikuan together. Chikuan himself didn't think that he'd actually pass the test. He knew that the hidden house Zhao was here to send him to his death. He knew that. And while he had Lin Yi's protection, Zhao Chikuan was still a little worried before he came. After all, no matter how strong Lin Yi was, he couldn't protect everyone. He didn't expect that they would pass the test and get the pill, but the hidden house Zhao was gone. Chikuan didn't know how to face the hidden house Zhao now. His family stood against him after he left. Although his grandpa and Zhao Qibing wouldn't dare do anything to him after he went back, living in a house like this was a tragedy and torture. Lin Yi looked at Chikuan's unhappy face and patted his shoulder, sighing. Let's go. There are some things you can't choose. Can you choose your grandpa? That's true. Chikuan smiled bitterly. What should I do when I go back? I really don't know what the point of me staying in House Zhao is. My grandpa, why is he so stubborn? Is it just because Zhao Qibing gave him a qi-gathering pill that he let him become the head of the house? Some things are formed under the circumstances of a strange combination of factors. Now, I can't explain it. Under the circumstances at that time, old Zhao's decision was understandable. But now, I have to say that he was very short-sighted. Yeah, Chikuan nodded. Even the ancient sects have a few of them calling you their boss. My grandpa really is one step at a time. We'll see. With Lin Yi's current position, the way he thought about things was different. In the past, he didn't dare touch the hidden house Zhao and House Yu because he wasn't strong enough. So, he kept their relationship at a balance point, and no one would take a step further. But now, Lin Yi could totally wipe out any hidden house. Chikuan nodded and got in the jeep with Lin. Heading home, Tian Chan stood far away, quietly watching as Lin Yi got on the car and drove off. She sighed, endless sorrow after parting with you. We'll always be together, and there will be many obstacles in the future. Naturally, Lin Yi didn't know that behind him stood a girl who missed him. Tian Chan didn't attend the award ceremony, and Lin Yi thought that Tian Chan had already returned to Five Elements sect and wouldn't show her face again. These days, Tinley had been selling everything he had, borrowing from all over the place, but he still couldn't get 200 million. He only managed to get 40 million and transfer it all to Lang's CEO's account. Just when he was anxiously waiting for the news, Lang's CEO brought him a bolt out of the blue. Boss Lou, it's bad. Because we didn't meet the deadline and gathered enough money to pay the smuggler. The smuggler found the border guards of that small country and reported the news of our smuggling. As a result, the border guards seized all our goods, Xiao Chun said sadly. What? Tianli couldn't help but be shocked, as if he had fallen into an ice house. Although he was hypnotized, it was only because of his unlimited trust in Little Pure and the belief that this business would bring him a lot of money. Now that his business was in trouble, Tianli was still shocked. He almost had a heart attack. That snake head, why didn't he follow the rules? It's not like we're not giving him the money. We're just delaying it for a while. Why did he? I didn't have a choice. They're all desperados. I want to talk to them, but they won't meet me. Xiaochun sighed, troubled. Why don't I try to find a way through the political connections here and see if I can pass the message? Lu Tianli hesitated. He really didn't want to use House Lu's political connections for this, but the situation was urgent, and he had no other choice. If he didn't use them, then House Lu would be done for. Smuggling was a disgrace to House Lu, but they hadn't done it yet, right? House Lu just had to be flexible and say that the goods are going to be imported legally, but they were confiscated when they were being transported to the small country. That way, things would work. CEO Lu, are you sure you can use your connections? The goods we're smuggling this time are prohibited goods. Xiaochun reminded. Isn't it just tobacco? We're smuggling, but I could be flexible and say that we're going to import legally. Tianli was shocked, but he wasn't stupid. He quickly thought of a solution. CEO Lu, this isn't just tobacco, it's drugs. Xiaochun said. What? Drugs? Tianli was shocked. He couldn't believe it. He almost threw the phone in his hand on the floor. How did cigarettes become drugs? He took a deep breath and came back to his senses. Isn't it cigarettes? How did it become drugs? CEO Lanyu, you're not joking, are you? Ha! This joke isn't funny at all. CEO Lu, do you think I'm joking with you? Xiaochun said faintly. There's nothing special in those cigarettes. How can they be so good to smoke? That's... Tianli froze, only remembering after Boss Lang reminded him. That's right. Why were these cigarettes so good to smoke and addictive to the point of it? Could there really be drugs in them? But why didn't he think of it before? Of course, what Tianli didn't know was that it wasn't that he didn't think of it, but that he was hypnotized and didn't think in that direction at all. The hypnotist suppressed his thoughts. CEO Lang, you tricked me? Tianli roared. Director Lu, I thought you knew what was going on, Xiaochun said calmly. CEO Lu, I thought you knew it yourself. Xiaochun said slowly. I don't do drugs, how would I know? Tianli raged. I don't take drugs, how would I know? Tianli raged. All the bosses I know smoke cigarettes. How would I know you don't? Xiaochun said, I saw that you didn't raise any doubts before, so I thought we had a tacit understanding. The purity of the cigarette is so high that people who have never smoked before will feel uncomfortable. I saw that Mr. Lu was enjoying it, so I didn't think too much about it. Chapter 2908. What do I do? I don't have a solution right now. Compared to money, my life is more important. That smuggler said that if I keep causing trouble, he'll kill me. I think, Mr. Lu, I don't want the goods anymore. I don't want the money anymore. If you have the ability, then get the goods out yourself. I'll give it all to you. I don't want to do this anymore. Xiaochun's voice sounded really down. What? Tianli panicked. Mr. Lang, that's not right. If you leave now, what will I do? You have to know that I'm the one who invested the most money in this. That's why I'm saying, Mr. Lu, if you have the ability, then get the goods out and give it all to you. Xiaochun said. But how am I supposed to get the drugs? I can't use my connections at all. Not to mention using my connections. Even if this gets out, it'll be a fatal blow to House Lu. Tianli said worriedly. House Lu was in the medicine business, and if they got involved with drug trafficking, they'd be done for. That's not within my consideration, Mr. Lu. I'm sorry, but I don't think there's any point in working with us anymore. We'll never meet again. With that, Xiaochun hung up and said goodbye to Tianli. Mr. Lang, you can't do this. Hello? Fuck you. Tianli couldn't help but curse when he heard Xiaochun hang up on him. He smashed his phone onto the floor, breaking it into pieces. Tianli breathed heavily, his right hand clutching his chest. His face was twisted, and because of his anger, his eyes were bloodshot. It was a terrifying sight. Mr. Lu, what's wrong? Secretary Zhang heard the sound of the phone smashing on the floor and quickly walked into Tianli's office. What was that sound? Mr. Liu, your phone. Tianli took a deep breath. He knew that there was no point in getting angry now. He had to think of a solution. The most important thing right now was to contact Mr. Lang. After all, he didn't even know who the smuggler was. How was he supposed to find a connection? He could only count on Mr. Lang now. Tianli wondered if he could get Mr. Lang to think of a solution. Up until now, he had not doubted Lang's zone. It had to be said that the hypnotist's ability was very powerful. Director Liu, don't be angry. What exactly happened? Secretary Zhang felt a little strange and could only ask carefully. Give me your phone and replace my SIM card on the floor. Tianli didn't explain much as he ordered Secretary Zhang. Okay, Mr. Liu. Secretary Zhang nodded and picked up the phone parts on ground. He found Tianli's SIM card and put it into his phone before passing it to Tianli. All right, you can leave now. Tianli waved his hand, signaling the secretary to leave. There were some things he didn't want Secretary Zhang to know too much. If the news of him dealing drugs and the company losing money were to be leaked, it would be a huge scandal. The company might even be on the verge of bankruptcy. Tianli didn't dare spread the news. Yes, Secretary Zhang didn't know what was going on, but he didn't dare to ask. He could only leave the office respectfully. After Secretary Zhang left, Tianli dialed CEO Lang's number again, but there was a cold voice on the other side. I'm sorry, the number you have dialed is either switched off or not within the service area. Please check and dial again later. Tianli was stunned. Lang, you're too much. Tianli was furious when he heard that Mr. Lang's phone was switched off. He wanted to smash his phone again, but he held himself back and dialed Mr. Lang's assistant, Shui Mianshir's number. But what drove Tianli crazy was that Shui Mianshir's phone rang with the same tone. His phone was turned off. Yes, Secretary Zhang. This time, Tianli truly believed it. Mr. Lang really wanted to leave. It wasn't fake. It was real. Mr. Liu. Secretary Zhang heard Tianli's call and quickly came back. He didn't know what he did to piss off Tianli. Was that a curse? Check 2 numbers for me immediately. See if you can locate the location of the most recent calls from these 2 numbers. With that, Tianli wrote down the 2 numbers on a piece of paper and passed it to Secretary Zhang. He didn't say who these 2 numbers belonged to or what the use was. It's best if you can find out the register information of these 2 numbers as well. Tianli said. Secretary Zhang nodded. Yes. Secretary Zhang got the numbers and went to work. With Tianli's position in the company, it was a piece of cake for him to investigate these things. Secretary Zhang had a lot of acquaintances. Soon, Secretary Zhang reported the results of the investigation to Tianli. What shocked him was that these 2 numbers never left Yinjing at all. They didn't go to that small country at all, and other than calling him, they didn't talk to anyone else at all. This was basically impossible. Mr. Lang wasn't doing business with him alone. Besides, how could they have been in Yinjing all this time? This didn't make sense at all. At this time, even if Tianli trusted Mr. Lang blindly, he realized the problem. He seemed to have fallen into an elaborate trap. Mr. Lang had been lying to him from the start. What the hell is this? This name can be registered on a phone card? Tianli pointed at the list of phone numbers Secretary Zhang brought over. These people are called Wolf Motherfucker and Shui Motherfucker. Who would have names like that? Secretary Zhang was a bit speechless at these 2 names, but he didn't know why Tianli would be so fixated on these 2 names. He could only say weakly, there are all sorts of strange things in this world. What they call themselves is their freedom. Tianli's breathing became messy after realizing that he had been tricked. Since these 2 were lying to him, it was normal for them to call themselves Wolf Motherfucker. It was already good enough that they didn't call themselves Motherfucker. The most important thing now wasn't to think about these 2's names. He needed to find their whereabouts. Secretary Zhang, give me the information on Mr. Lang right now. I want to see it. Chapter 2909. Tianli, on the other hand, picked up a cigarette, lit it up, and put it in his mouth, frowning. But after taking a puff, he suddenly realized that the cigarette he was smoking was the drug that Mr. Lang gave him. Tianli was scared as if he had been stung by a scorpion. He quickly threw the cigarette on the ground and put it out with his foot. I'm dead, I'm dead. Tianli waved his hand as he continued thinking about the whole thing. Why did he suddenly do something stupid? Why did he believe Mr. Lang's words? Why did he smoke his cigarette? Not only did he smoke it, but he didn't notice anything wrong with it. Tianli couldn't think of a reason, no matter how much he thought about it. In the end, Tianli felt that he wanted House Liu to leave Lin eat too much, and he wanted to find a way out for House Liu himself. That was indeed the case. If Tianli didn't have his own selfish desires, he would never work with Xiaochun on this cigarette business. It was his greed that allowed the hypnotist to take advantage of him. Businessmen were after profits, and it was understandable that Peng Zhan got tricked. After all, Peng Zhan Industries was a multifaceted group, and Peng Zhan Industries was his own boss. Chu Pengzhan's greed was being exploited by the hypnotist. But Tianli couldn't get away with being tricked. House Liu's current business was fully supporting Lin Yi's Miracle Doctor Guan Medicine Company. This was also the foundation that Elder Jinhu and Liu Jinghan had set for House Liu's future. But Tianli always felt that if they relied on Lin, wouldn't House Liu be done for if Lin Yi died one day? And so, because of his selfishness, Tianli was successfully hypnotized by the hypnotist. Otherwise, if a person had no selfish motives, no matter how powerful the hypnotist was, he wouldn't fall for it if he had a strong will. Tianli held his head, troubled, but he didn't know what to do. Now that something like this happened to the company, how was he going to tell his family? The most important thing was, how was he going to face Lin Yi? Lin Yi, would he kill him? Not only did he lose House Liu's company, but he also lost the distributor's money and the money he used to buy raw materials for Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company. Without this money, Miracle Dr. Guan's medical company would fall into a cash flow crisis. Tianli knew the severity of the situation, but the more serious it was, the more he didn't dare to confess. Tianli picked up a cigarette and put it in his mouth. He was about to light it up when he suddenly remembered that it was drugs. But even knowing that it was drugs, Tianli still couldn't pull himself away. His hands were shaking, and he wanted to throw the cigarette away. But he didn't know if it was because of the addiction or because he couldn't resist the temptation of the cigarette, but he still lit it up with trembling hands. Now I have to think of a way. It's fine if I smoke. It won't be too late to quit smoking after I think of a way, Tianli thought to himself. However, he couldn't think of any way at all. When the cigarette entered his mouth, it brought him an indescribable sense of comfort and relief. It made him temporarily forget about his troubles. In this matter, Tianli felt like he was on cloud 9. At this moment, he felt that nothing else mattered except for the cigarette. Secretary Zhang took a long time this time. After all, investigating a company and investigating 2 phone numbers were 2 different things. But Secretary Zhang was still quite capable. After going through a few business associations, he still managed to find Mr. Lang's company. However, the company's information made Secretary Zhang frown. Of course, this wasn't something that Secretary Zhang could worry about. He went straight to Tianli's office after getting the information. Seeing the cigarette butts all over the floor, Secretary Zhang paused for a moment, but still said respectfully, "Mr. Liu, I've got the information. Please take a look. Put it over there." Tianli was smoking comfortably. He didn't care about anything else right now, and he wasn't in a rush to look at the information. Okay. Secretary Zhang didn't dare to say anything else. He put the information down and left. After a long time, Tianli finally woke up from his addiction. He remembered about the information and quickly picked it up. But when he flipped to the first page, he froze. President Lang's company was registered in Bermuda. There was no extra relevant information. What could be found were the advertisements and encyclopedia introductions about this company on the search engine. However, these things could not be used as any basis at all. These things could be changed by anyone. Tianli threw the information aside and sighed bitterly. Indeed, since the other party had decided to lie to him, they wouldn't let him find any evidence against them. There was no way they would leave any real information for him to investigate. Sigh. Tianli lowered his head helplessly, his hands grabbing at his hair. He didn't know how to face this. He could only pick up another cigarette and start smoking. Two disciples of the Dark Palace picked up 2 herbs from the corpses and successfully exchanged them for a chi-gathering pill at the award ceremony. Although the time needed to make it wasn't certain, this was the only way for the Palace Master of the Dark Palace to break through to Sky Class. If the Palace Master still couldn't accept the inheritance at Sky Class, then they would have to find another inheritor. The pressure on the Dark Palace would be huge. The return of the 2 disciples was praised by the highest elder. You 2 did a good job. You were able to pass such a dangerous heavenly elixir sect trial. We will do our best for the Grand Elder. No matter how dangerous it is, we will try our best, the 2 disciples said flatteringly. But we only got 2 herbs. That's a bit regretful. Why didn't you guys get more? The Grand Elder asked. We had a lot of elixirs to begin with, but who knew that this Linny guy would come in and take all of it? The 2 disciples from the Dark Palace had been holding a grudge against Lin Yi since the beginning. If it weren't for Lin Yi, they would have gotten a lot of elixirs with Nai Peo, much more than just these 2, but they never thought about what happened when they helped Nai Peo scam Lin Yi's friends. Chapter 29:10. They told the Grand Elder about how despicable Lin Yi was, how hateful he was for stealing their elixirs, adding oil and vinegar to the story. On one hand, they wanted to push the blame away, and on the other hand, they wanted the Grand Elder to take revenge on Lin Yi, who made them lose face. Nai Peo was the one who started it, but he was from the everyday sect, and they couldn't afford to piss him off. Nai Peo took them in as followers and even gave them benefits, so they didn't hold a grudge. Lin Yi, on the other hand, was a freelancer, and he was the disciple of an ancient sect. How could they accept that? What? Lin Yi? The Grand Elder paused. Why do the names sound so familiar? Then she suddenly thought of who this person was. Is it the wild man beside that little bitch? He's participating in the Sky Elixir test. Isn't he an Earth class? You 2 aren't his match? The 2 disciples paused. Why did it sound like the Grand Elder knew Lin Yi? And so Disciple A asked carefully, Grand Elder, do you know that Lin Yi? You don't have to worry about this. I know. The Grand Elder waved her hand, signaling the 2 to leave. She, on the other hand, frowned. Everyone could see the anger in her heart. Mingyao's people were bullying the Dark Palace. Wasn't this a blatant provocation? Men, the Grand Elder took a deep breath and yelled. Grand Elder, what's the matter? The one on duty today was elderly, and he was outside the door. He heard the 2 disciples' conversation loud and clear, and he was quite happy. The Miss Bodyguard was this strong? How could an Earth Stage cultivator get a place in the Heavenly Elixir Sex trial? Why are you here? The Grand Elder frowned upon seeing elderly. She knew that elderly was on Wan Er's side, and that he was very respectful and concerned about Meng Yao. I'm on duty today, Grand Elder, elderly said, neither servile nor overbearing. Forget it, you are what you are. The Grand Elder thought that elderly was only helping Meng Yao in the dark. Would he dare to go against his will on the surface? It was a good opportunity to disgust him. May I ask why Supreme Elder is looking for me? When elderly saw the Grand Elder's expression, he knew it wasn't something good. He reckoned that the Grand Elder had come up with some vicious plan to punish Lin Yi. Now, send a notice to Lin Yi in the name of the Dark Palace. Tell him to return the 2 elixirs he stole from our disciples. If not, he'll bear the consequences. The Great Elder said. Elderly was stunned. He didn't expect that the Grand Supreme Elder would ask him to do this. How was he going to send out the notice? Elderly's expression was a little awkward. Grand Elder, this isn't too good, right? The Heavenly Elixir sect will be in charge of everything in the trial. We, the Palace of Darkness, can't do anything about it. If the Heavenly Elixir sect finds out, it'll be a huge taboo. Linny is just a small freelancer, that bitch's dog. How could the Heavenly Elixir sect help him? Plus, can Lenny go to the heavens? What a joke. The Grand Elder said in disdain. He'll just suffer a loss. He won't dare say it out loud. But didn't we give those 2 elixirs to the Heavenly Elixir sect? Where's Lin? You going to get them back? Elderly smiled bitterly. Without those 2 elixirs, of course we'll have to get his elixirs back. Are we going to let him get away with it? The Grand Elder hung coldly. He's just a small freelancer. He only dares to bully our disciples. Why wouldn't he dare to bully the Heavenly Elixir sect's disciples? What the hell? But with me a sky-class late-phase peak, he'll wet his pants. This, Elder Lee was in a difficult position. Wasn't this clearly making things difficult for him? Everything that happened in the trial was up to the heavens. He'd never heard of anyone seeking revenge after the trial. It was fine if it was a life-and-death feud, but to ask for the 2 elixirs back after taking them, wasn't this bullying? Are you going to do it or not? If not, I'll let someone else do it. The Grand Elder saw that Elder Lee was hesitating and glared angrily. I'll do it. I'll arrange it right now. Elder Lee had no choice but to bite the bullet and leave the Grand Elder's room. Then, he sneaked to where Warner was cultivating. How strong was the Grand Elder? She knew all of Elder Lee's little tricks. She saw it too, but didn't stop him. It was better if Warner knew. This was the effect that the Grand Elder wanted. If you didn't break through to Sky Class and accept the inheritance, then your family would be bullied. Without pressure, how could you have motivation? The Dark Palace's position was in a precarious position. If the inheritor didn't appear, then the entire future plan would be ruined. That place might do something inhumane in a fit of rage, and the Grand Elder was under a lot of pressure as well. Now that there was the matter with Lin Yi, she could use this as a pretext to pressure Lin Yi a little, making Warner understand that if she didn't train, then her daughter wouldn't have a position. Elderly told Warner about the order of the highest elder. Warner's face was a bit pale. This was the mature version of the eldest Mississippi. She felt very conflicted at the moment. After an inheritor broke through, the possibility of accepting the inheritance was almost zero. Even if they broke through to Sky Class, it would be hard to understand the inheritance. One knew that the only way for her to reunite with Pingzhan and Meng Yao was to accept the inheritance and become the inheritor. At that time, she would be the true palace master of the Dark Palace, and now, it was just a title. If she couldn't accept the inheritance, then everything would be over. So this chi-gathering pill of the Dark Palace became the key to turning things around. If she succeeded, then everything would be fine, but if she failed, then it would be an eternal failure. The Grand Elder had no choice but to activate the Dark Phoenix Bloodline Guidance Stone to find another inheritor of the Dark Phoenix Bloodline to accept the inheritance. Chapter 2911. Understand. Elderly, please do as the Grand Elder says. Warner sighed. This wasn't something she could decide. Her decision to run away from the wedding all those years ago seemed childish and funny, but she didn't regret it. It was her choice. Pengzhan was the love of her life. It was just that he and her daughter had suffered a lot. After all these years, he had become a very successful person in the common world, but in the ancient world, he was nothing in the eyes of the Grand Elder. Yes, Palace Master. Elderly sighed and said, if we do this, the people around Little Miss will definitely be baffled. Sigh. Warner pursed her lips and didn't say anything else. She couldn't change the reality in front of her. Luckily, she only wanted Lin Yi to hand over the medicine and elixirs. She didn't cause any more trouble for him, so she was a little relieved. Ancient House Feng. Feng Tianhu didn't expect Feng Shipian to come back alive, but he was happy that Feng Shipian brought back the Great Huan Pill. Nitian could be saved. So, even if Feng Shipian wasn't dead, Feng Tianhu was still smiling. Shipian, you've worked hard. You're indeed the first heir of the ancient House Feng, passing such a difficult test. Not bad, not bad. Feng Shipian didn't look like a schemer, but he was actually very smart. There were some things that he didn't want to think too much about, and he didn't want to fight. Looking at his uncle smile, Feng Shipian smiled and nodded. It's all thanks to the help of a benefactor. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to pass the test. Benefactor? Feng Tianlin came out at this time. He paused after hearing Feng Shipian's words. What benefactor? Father, I recognized a boss in the test. If it weren't for him, I wouldn't have passed the test so smoothly. Feng Shipian decided to tell his father about this. It was a blessing, not a curse, and if it was a curse, it couldn't be avoided. He had to say it sooner or later. What? Feng Tianlin heard Feng Shipian's words and frowned. Feng Shipian was his son, the future heir of the ancient house Feng. How could he call someone else boss? Wouldn't the ancient house of Feng become someone else's lackey? Feng Shipian, what is the meaning of this? You are a member of the ancient Feng clan. How can you just casually acknowledge someone as your boss? Don't you know that by doing this, you're giving up the right to be the heir? Feng Tianhu didn't wait for Feng Tianlin to say anything else. He knew that Feng Shipian had brought back the Great Recover Pill, and that meant that Feng Nitian could be saved. He also had the intention to push Feng Nitian up again. Even if he couldn't, he still had a trump card. The most important thing now was to remove Feng Shipian's position as the heir. Therefore, as soon as he opened his mouth, he determined Feng Shipian's behavior. It seemed like he was blaming Feng Shipian for failing to live up to his expectations, but in reality, he was saying that Feng Shipian's behavior was no longer suitable for him to become the successor of the young patriarch. How could the successor of the young patriarch acknowledge someone else as his boss? If Feng Shipian became the young patriarch, wouldn't the ancient Feng family become someone else's lackey? Therefore, his words basically cut off Feng Shipian's path of retreat. Elder Feng was a shrewd man. How could he not know what Feng Tianhu meant? However, Feng Tianhu was right. If Feng Shipian acknowledged someone else as his boss, then he naturally wouldn't have the right to be the young patriarch anymore. O poem, what you've done is indeed inappropriate. Elder Feng narrowed his eyes and said faintly, You are the successor of the young patriarch. Your every word and action represents the ancient Feng clan. Grandpa, the situation at that time didn't allow me to do otherwise. If I didn't acknowledge that person as my boss, then I wouldn't even be able to come back safely, let alone get the Great Recover Pill. Feng Shipian sighed. He knew that this would happen when he returned home, but he had no choice. Our ancient Feng family's reputation is the most important, Feng Tianhu said, disappointed that he had failed to meet his expectations. Shipian, the boss you acknowledged, which sect is he from? Feng Tianlin tried his best to change the topic. He wanted to know the identity of Feng Shipian's boss. If this boss was a direct disciple of a big sect, or even the young patriarch, then it would make sense. The ancient Feng clan wasn't a top-notch existence in the ancient world, but a low-level existence. If they really acknowledged such a boss, it would still be beneficial for the ancient Feng clan. Feng Tianhu frowned. Of course, he knew what Feng Tianlin meant, but he couldn't stop Feng Shipian from saying it. He is called Lin Yi. He's a wandering cultivator. Although Feng Shipian knew that if he said Lin Yi's identity, it would only make Feng Tianhu use it as an excuse to attack him, he didn't want to lie. Lin Yi's identity as a wandering cultivator was something that could be investigated. There was no way to hide it. What? Wandering cultivator? Before Feng Tianhu could speak, Feng Tianlin exclaimed in shock. Shipian, what are you thinking? How can you acknowledge a wandering cultivator as your boss? Do you know how much of a negative impact this will have on the ancient Feng clan? All right, second brother, let's not talk about Shipian anymore. He's young, and it's his first time going out to train. He doesn't know any better. Let's not talk about him. Feng Tianhu waved his hand and pretended to be a good person. What's done can't be undone. The only way is to announce to the public that Feng Shipian is not the first in line to be the young patriarch. That way, there won't be any problems. Feng Tianlin's face was very ugly. He was very annoyed by Feng Shipian's reckless behavior. But after all, Feng Shipian was his son, and his personality was somewhat similar to Feng Shipian's. They were both kind people. At this time, he didn't know what to say. He could only say with hatred, "Sherpan, look at what you've done. Father, I don't think I've done anything wrong. If this matter affects the ancient Feng clan's reputation, I'm willing to take all the responsibility." Feng Shipian said stubbornly, "At that time, I wanted to pass the trial and get the spiritual medicine to exchange for the recover pill for my brother. I had to do this. Moreover, it wasn't just me. Li Siba, a disciple of the Holy Fist Palace, also acknowledged Lin Yi as his boss." Then, Feng Tianhu just wanted to say something, but was interrupted by Old Master Feng. Chapter 29:12. Yes, there is also Gu Xian, a rogue cultivator from the ancient times, who also recognized Lin Yi as his boss. We also successfully completed the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect because of the protection of boss Lin Yi. Feng Shipian nodded and said, "Tut." Old Master Feng smacked his lips in surprise and fell into deep thought. The disciples of the Holy Fist Palace also recognized Lin Yi as their boss. Old Master Feng was very clear about what kind of sect the Holy Fist Palace was. The Holy Fist Palace was a model of external cultivation among the ancient sections. It was very powerful, although it had been a little low-key in recent years. No one could deny the transcendent status of the Holy Fist Palace. Although the disciples of the Holy Fist Palace who participated in the trial of the Heavenly Elixir sect this time might not be the direct disciples, they must be the core disciples. The core disciples of the Holy Fist Palace were certainly not fools. This Lin Yi must be extraordinary. Moreover, Old Master Feng had also heard of the name of Gu Xian. Gu Xian was also a character in the ancient times. He was well informed, but he did not join any ancient sections. Such a character could recognize others as his boss. There must be something wrong with this. Feng Shipian, no matter what, this time you have done something that will damage the reputation of the family. During this period of time, you will go to the reflection room and reflect on your mistakes. Don't participate in the other affairs of the family. Old Master Feng finally spoke, and he made the final decision. You participated in the trial this time and got the recover pill. Your merits and demerits offset each other. I will not punish you for anything else. Yes, thank you, Grandpa. Feng Shipian did not expect things to be resolved so easily. In fact, reflecting on his mistakes was similar to cultivation. Otherwise, Feng Shipian often cultivated in seclusion. This punishment was basically equivalent to no punishment for cultivators. Originally, Feng Shipian thought that he would definitely be removed from the title of the first successor of the young master. But now it seemed that Grandpa did not think so. Feng Tianhu's face changed. He did not expect that Old Master Feng would settle the matter with just one sentence. But he had no choice and did not dare to say anything more. In Tianhu, take the recover pill and give it to Heaven Defying. He is also the disciple with the most potential in our ancient Feng family. It would be great if he could recover. Old Master Feng didn't show any favoritism. He directly hinted to Feng Tianhu that if his son recovered, he would also have a chance to compete. Yes, thank you, Father. Tianhu was overjoyed. He didn't think that this pill would really fall in Nitian's hands. One had to know that he had hoped for it before, but he wasn't sure if he would give it to Nitian. After all, to the ancient house Feng Nitian was just a vegetable, useless. According to some of the cold-blooded noble houses, people like him would be abandoned. Even if they got the great recover pill back, they would keep it in their house for emergencies. They wouldn't give it to anyone easily. The hidden Zhao family was a living example. Old Master Zhao's actions were very cold-blooded and heartless. You can all leave now, do your own things. Old Master Feng finished and turned to leave. The current atmosphere of the ancient house Feng was not good, but Old Master Feng had no choice. Feng Shipian was too weak. If the ancient house Feng was strong, then there would be no problem. No one would be able to do anything to the ancient house Feng. But now the ancient house Feng was just a weak family. If Feng Shipian didn't have any means, then the ancient house Feng would be bullied to death in the future. However, old Master Feng couldn't think of a good solution. Feng Tianlin and Feng Shipian had similar personalities, and Feng Tianhu and Feng Nitian had similar personalities, but these two personalities were extreme, and neither was suitable to be the head of the house. However, for now, they could only take one step at a time. Old Master Feng could only hope that one of them could change. Holy Fist Palace. Li Siba's return could be said to be an accident for the Holy Fist Palace. On the way, Li Siba and a fellow disciple met Zhang Naipeo. After being killed by Zhang Naipeo, Li Siba went to the Heavenly Elixir sect to participate in the trial. At that time, the disciple who was responsible for collecting the body of the Holy Fist Palace persuaded Li Siba to quit, but Li Siba still went to the Heavenly Elixir sect firmly. Some people thought that he was stubborn, but others thought that he was being impulsive. He and Zhang Naipeo had already become enemies. When he went to the Heavenly Elixir sect for the trial, it was hard to guarantee that Zhang Naipeo would not be resentful and attack Li Siba again, leaving him in the trial. Therefore, when Li Siba returned, the people of the sect were very surprised, especially his master, the unparalleled Fist Master. The Holy Fist Palace and the Everyday sect had always been enemies. The unparalleled Fist Master was currently the head of the Holy Fist Palace. Although Li Siba was not his last disciple, he was also one of the disciples he was more optimistic about. Previously, he heard that the disciple of the great elder of the Holy Fist Palace was killed, but his disciple still went to the trial. He was very worried. Although Li Siba's spirit was commendable, it was a bit impulsive to go knowing that it was extremely dangerous. "Siba, did you pass the trial?" The unparalleled Fist Master asked in surprise. "Yes, Master. I've passed the trial and successfully exchanged for a great recover pill." After saying that, Li Siba carefully took out the recover pill from his pocket and presented it to the unparalleled Fist Master. The unparalleled Fist Master was really shocked this time. He was very surprised that Li Siba could come back alive, but he actually brought back a third-grade recover pill. It was a bit unbelievable. During the trial, did Zhang Naipeo make things difficult for you? The unparalleled Fist Master hated Zhang Naipeo's guts, not only because he killed a core disciple of the Holy Fist Palace, but also because he was a disciple of the Everyday sect. The Holy Fist Palace hated the disciples of the Everyday sect the most. Yes, but your disciple found a boss in the test, and under his protection, not only did I break Naipeo's spirit and avenge my fellow disciples, but he also helped me pass the test and get the third-level Great Recovery Pill. Li Siba said truthfully, "Oh, you recognized a boss? And broke Zhang Naipeo's spirit? What happened?" The unparalleled Fist Master was a little annoyed that Li Siba recognized a boss. The disciples of the Holy Fist Palace were all outstanding existences. How could they casually recognize a boss? However, when he heard that Zhang Naipeo's spirit was broken, he became interested. Seeing the disciples of the Everyday sect in bad luck, the unparalleled Fist Master was the happiest. Chapter 29:13. This was not a secret, and everyone who participated in the trial knew about it, so Li Siba didn't need to keep it a secret. What? This Lin Yi is just a casual practitioner. How can he be so powerful? Mo Ba and Mo Jiao are both dead? Zhang Naipeo wouldn't dare to do anything to him, and he actually defeated Zhang Naipeo? Peerless Fist Master's eyes widened in disbelief. He was wondering who this Lin Yi was. How could he be so powerful that even the Everyday sect didn't dare to do anything to him? Especially since this was not the first time Lin Yi had defeated Zhang Naipeo. In the Ice Palace trial, Zhang Naipeo had already suffered a loss, and Lin Yi was still alive and well. This was the most unbelievable thing to Peerless Fist Master. Yes, Li Siba nodded. In fact, I was also very curious before, but after interacting with Boss Lin Yi for a long time, I realized that the strength of a practitioner is actually not related to the level. Boss Lin E is an Earth-class master, but he can kill a middle-stage Heaven-class master in seconds. Lin, I've never heard of it before. The unparalleled fighter tried his best to remember this name, but realized that he didn't have this name in his memories. This person had appeared out of nowhere, out of nowhere. Of course, the Holy Fist Palace had never paid attention to Lin Yi before, so it was normal that they had never heard of Lin Yi's name. In fact, I also suspected his background. Li Siba smiled bitterly and said, "But I heard from his other follower that there are hidden families and ordinary families among Boss Lin Yi's followers. This shows that Boss Lin, you should be walking on the road of the strong step by step. At least, there are only 3 followers at the ancient level, me, Feng Shipian, and Guxian. There was no one before." You have a good analysis. Peerless Fist Master nodded and said in agreement. So, this Lin Yi is even more extraordinary. He has no background. How can he walk on the road of the strong step by step? Why don't I believe it? Li Siba hesitated for a moment and said, "But it seems like that's the case. From the looks of it, some things can't be judged on the surface. What do you think, Pugilist Wu?" The unparalleled Fist turned his head and looked at the great elder of the sect, the unparalleled Fist. He was also a peak late-stage physical expert, but he was a bit weaker than the unparalleled Fist. The unparalleled Fist had already reached perfection and was only a step away from the heaven rank. Sect leader, I don't think so. This Lin Yi is either a cultivation genius that only appears once in 10,000 years, or he has an extremely powerful background that none of us know about. Otherwise, this doesn't make sense at all. Lawless Fist said after some thought. An extremely powerful background that no one knows about. Can't other people find out? How could the everyday and everyday sect not know? The Matchless Fist Master frowned. The everyday and everyday sect. I don't know if they know or not, but since they're afraid of Lin Yi, they should know something, right? The unparalleled Fist said after some thought. No. Logically speaking, this Lin Yi was already very strong in the Ice Palace's test. If he had a background, then Zhang Naipeo wouldn't be targeting him in the Sky Elixir Sect's test, trying to kill him. The unparalleled Fist said with a wave of his hand. If Lin Yi really had a powerful background, would Zhang Naipeo still dare to do that? But, sect leader, even if the everyday and everyday sect doesn't know about it, it doesn't mean that Lin Yi doesn't have a powerful background. Could it be that you've forgotten about the 2 heavenly masters who swept through the ancient sects 10 years ago? Wasn't the invincible sect master taken away by them back then? The Lawless Fist shook his head again. Those 2 people appeared out of thin air and then disappeared. Before that, who knew about their existence? Logically speaking, they're all the physical cultivators, and they're even beyond the extreme of our knowledge. But our Holy Fist Palace didn't know that there were 2 such powerful physical masters. That's true. The unparalleled Fist Master hesitated and fell into deep thought. After a while, he turned to Li Siba and said, "Siba, you did a good job this time. Don't break the relationship between you and Lin Yi. Keep in touch with him, but you have to remember that you represent yourself, not our Holy Fist Palace. Before you know that person's real background, or that person hasn't shown enough strength to look down on the ancient level, you can't use the name of Holy Fist Palace to associate with him." "Yes, Master, I understand." Li Siba was overjoyed. Although he had thought that the matter of him recognizing Lin Yi as his boss would not be opposed by the people in the sect, he did not expect that it would be so smooth and that the unparalleled Fist Master would agree so much. Of course, Li Siba would not think much about the addition of the unparalleled Fist Master. After all, the Holy Fist Palace was the top existence among the ancient sections. If they recognized a rogue cultivator as their boss in the name of the sect, the impact would be too great. And the Holy Fist Palace had given Li Siba the maximum freedom to associate with Lin Yi in his own name. "Ah, it's a pity that your junior brother was killed by Zhang Naipeo, but Mo Ba and Mo Jio are finished. They have been avenged." The unparalleled fist master sighed and said, "Also, you can keep this recover pill for yourself. It's what you deserve. You don't have to hand it over to the sect." How can I do that? Lee Sybil was stunned and a little overwhelmed. "Also, you can come to my place to practice tomorrow. From now on, you will be one of my last disciples, and you will be treated the same as the other last disciples." The unparalleled fist master was a man who knew how to adapt to circumstances. He also saw that Lin Yi was unusual, so he began to prepare to train Lee Sybil. Thank you, master." Lee Sybil was surprised and happy, and quickly knelt on the ground. He never dreamed that after recognizing Lin Yi as his boss, it would bring him so many great benefits. And the unparalleled fist master did not oppose it. Instead, he was very supportive of the unparalleled fist master's decision. He smiled and said, "When you have time to see Lin Yi, thank him for avenging my disciple. I can't come forward to take revenge. If it was any other time, I could only pinch my nose and accept it. But this time, I can vent my anger. Yes, Grand Elder, your disciple will convey your message." Lee Sybil quickly replied. Chapter 29:14. Chunyang, what happened to Pao? How come he's like this? Didn't he successfully pass the trial and obtain a marrow and bone-cleansing pill for me? Isn't that a good thing? Pinliang looked at Chunyang curiously. "Do you know why?" "I'm not sure. I'll go ask later and report to you, master." "What do you think?" Chunyang shook his head. "All right." Pinliang nodded. Part of the soul in his body belonged to the mad dragon master, but his care for Naipeo came from the bottom of his heart. He'd always treated Naipeo as his right-hand man. Chunyang knew this as well. He knew that Naipeo had an unusual position in the sect, and so he didn't dare tarry. He went straight to Naipeo's training area. "Naipeo." Chunyang walked into Naipeo's room, and Naipeo was still sitting there, dumbfounded. He didn't even notice Chunyang's arrival. Logically speaking, Naipeo was a sky class, and his senses were quite strong. Not noticing Chunyang's arrival could only mean that his mind was elsewhere. It's master." Naipeo came back to his senses after being called. He raised his head and looked at Chunyang. "Master, why are you looking for your disciple?" "Naipeo, did something happen in the test this time?" Yang looked at Naipeo and asked. "Master." Naipeo hesitated, but decided to speak the truth. "Yes, master, this test was a huge blow to your disciple." "Oh, what happened?" "You clearly passed the trial and even obtained the trial spirit medicine to exchange for the marrow and bone-washing pill from Master Wild Dragon. These are all good things. Why did you suffer such a huge blow?" Heavenly Venerable Pure Yang was baffled when he heard that. He did not understand what was going on. "Master, don't praise your disciple. If it weren't for Lin Yi, I'd be dead by now. You can't see your disciple right now. I'm already in the 5 Evils Barrens." Naipeo smiled bitterly. "What do you mean? You're saying Lin Yi saved you?" Chunyang was a little surprised. Weren't Lin Yi and Naipeo enemies? How was Lin Yi able to save Naipeo? What the hell was going on? Did the two make up? That shouldn't be. That's right. But your disciple almost died because of Lin Yi as well. You could say that Lin Yi's success and Lin Yi's failure. Naipeo nodded. "What do you mean now? Lin Yi defeated you and even saved you?" Pure Yang Empyrean found it increasingly inconceivable. "Master, it's actually like this." Naipeo told him everything that had happened in the 5 Fiends Barrens to the Pure Yang Master in detail, including the part where Lin Yi killed his right-hand man. It was only now that Chunyang realized that Mo Ba was killed by Lin Yi, and Mo Jio was beaten into a vegetative state by Lin Yi. These two weren't attacked by spirit beasts in the 5 Evils Barrens. The culprit was actually Lin Yi, but Chunyang was shocked. Lin Yi was an Earth-class late phase, and he was able to kill Mo Ba and Mo Jio, 2 Sky-class mid-phase masters, and with an instant kill. That was fine, but Naipeo's Dark Demon Fist and Lin, he was able to come up with a Hellfire Fist? What the hell was this? How did it come out? Naipeo was the disciple of the Chrysanthemum Arts, Master Chiyu, and he couldn't even beat a random practitioner like Lenny? This didn't make sense, did it? But the truth was right there in front of him, and the soulless look on Naipeo's face didn't look like he was lying. The only explanation was that Lin, he was too strong, and no one else was a match for him. Lin, he's already this strong? Chunyang frowned, not relaxing for a long time. So if our everyday and everyday sect wants to touch him, we'll need a master of my level? Not really. If it weren't for Lin Yi's mid-tier golden cicada underwear, he wouldn't have been able to hurt me so easily. Naipeo smiled bitterly. Anyway, it's a freak accident. Chunyang patted Naipeo's shoulder and stood up. These things are the demons in your heart. Your training is stuck on this, and once you break through it, you'll be able to move forward. What do you mean? Naipeo paused. Chunyang shook his head and didn't say anything else. He turned and left his room. Naipeo fell into deep thought in his room. Chunyang, on the other hand, went straight to Pinliang's place. Master Mad Dragon, I've understood Zhang and Naipeo's journey in the test. This is what happened. Heavenly Venerate Pure Yang told Zhong Pinliang everything he knew. Oh, so Pao suffered a blow in the test and couldn't get back up? Zhong Pinliang frowned after hearing Pure Yang's words. How did Lin Yi become so powerful? That's right, Naipeo did suffer a blow. However, this is actually a good thing. Heavenly Venerate Pure Yang said. Good thing? What do you mean? Pinliang paused, and then a look of understanding appeared on his face. The second stage of the Chrysanthemum Arts, full mastery. Before breaking through to the third stage, one has to experience the demons in their heart. Without that, one won't be able to break through. That's right. It seems like Master has thought of it too. Chunyang nodded. Pinliang had the memories of the Mad Dragon Master, but because of the short period of time, he still couldn't fully integrate it. Sometimes there would be pauses. It seems like Lin, he did us a big favor again. Pinliang smiled. But if Pao can't successfully walk out of the demons in his heart and pull himself together, won't he be stuck in this situation for the rest of his life? Master, there's no other way. You know that to practice the Chrysanthemum Arts, one has to go through this. Chunyang shrugged helplessly. If the Chrysanthemum Arts were so easy to practice, would our everyday and everyday sect be suppressed by the Five Elements sect? That's true. I hope Pao can successfully break through. Pinliang nodded. Hakanamada Mountain's Fiery Mountain Sect. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.